Welcome, everyone, to the Town of Darien Sewer Commission meeting. Standing room only. Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, at 4:30 p.m. in room 206 of Darien Town Hall. We are calling the meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. Item number 2, I guess we can state publicly and for the record that we have a new sewer and facilities supervisor, Anthony Campanella.
Yep, he started on the 15th of April.
Okay.
Been here a couple of weeks. In his third week, he actually came back, so obviously that's good. Quite a few years of experience in facility management. He managed one of the golf courses down in Westchester, so he has some knowledge of some pump stations, but more stormwater pump stations and small, ejector pump stations, things like that. And he worked for, I think, over 10, 11 years in the Central Park, managing buildings there. Anything that wasn't green, I think he said. So we welcome him. I wish I had him here, but I think he saw the agenda and the 19 items, and he said maybe next time. So,
It was only item number 2.
so next meeting I will invite him so that you folks have a chance to meet him.
I think we're going to get him up to speed on our sewer system sooner than he might have imagined.
Correct.
Item number 3, approval of Darien Sewer Commission meeting minutes of April 2nd.
Anybody?
There are no corrections, Mr. Chairman,
Wow.
because
I didn't see any.
Well done.
That I remember.
I'll move these. Do I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0, meeting minutes are passed. Item number 4, Weed Beach Development by Parks and Recreation. Pam Derry is in the audience. And if I recall from last time, we wanted a super clear map that could be filed with a resolution so that everybody understood exactly the area we were talking about. And we wanted a resolution, which we had last time, but we wanted some new language. Did you take a look at this, Bob?
Yeah, I believe the new language was put in. That plan there looks fine. The only thing that really doesn't meet my muster is the planting plan. It's here, right? It shows me nothing.
Okay, so yeah, it just showed the idea of some vegetation, but there's no real specifics on what that's supposed to be. But I think the way we did the language, if I recall,
sort of screening.
that the area to be used by Park and Rec will be specifically,
Sewer pump station.
yeah, we talked about language that would say suitably screened, right?
I thought we had,
I don't remember if that was in the resolution.
It's not in this one.
No, I don't, I'm saying I
Yeah.
don't know if we asked for it. Did we ask for it to be in the resolution? I'm sorry,
Well-
I'm a little remiss on my memory of that.
Well, we are the ones that vote on it, so we can put it right in here right now.
Okay.
The concern, as stated last time, once we take down all this scrub and shrub that provided an aesthetic screen of the backside of our sewer pump station, then people would have a better view of stuff that doesn't look great. And we want to nip that in the bud by making sure the fence line and south of the fence line is well screened with vegetation, so that it provides a nice green backstop to the park and better buffers and separates what is a very industrial use from a park use.
I think it's important also to not invite anyone from the public to enter.
Yeah, to decide to go that way.
decide,
Yeah.
that may be fun to
So
investigate.
So let's talk about language in terms of whereas. I guess we would add a whereas.
Are you talking about this side and this side?
Just along the fence
Or
line.
just this side?
It's the
Primarily
the
here.
abutting fence line.
This,
Mostly in the
this
northern
This
portion.
garage right here,
Yeah, right.
to say is in disrepair is an
All right,
understatement.
yeah.
And it's a chain link fence there now, like 6-foot chain link
Yeah.
fence or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And there is something in here that kind of obscures when you're in this part.
there's some
There's
scrub
scrub,
little
yeah.
tree type
Yeah.
thorny thing, I
Yeah.
don't really,
You're gonna kill it.
So whereas the Parks and Recreation
You wanna put it there?
Department, is that, who is this, Town of Darien? Sewer Commission, yeah, Parks and Recreation Commission.
Adequate screening to protect visually and
Will.
area.
Provide adequate landscape,
screening.
landscape
Yeah.
screening on the south side of the chain link fence.
You have to pick it on map.
And to provide a visual
Area.
barrier, I like that word,
I would also,
between,
The
yeah.
uses.
I would also keep in mind that whatever's put there should be saltwater resistant.
Oh,
Something
yeah,
like
yeah,
inkberry or,
yeah. Well, yeah,
Otherwise-
should we, well, yeah, the passive, between the passive use and the
Municipal use.
municipal use, yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's technically municipal use too.
Yeah.
And the more industrial use. Parks and Recreation will provide adequate landscape screening on the south side of the chain link fence to provide a visual barrier between the passive use and the more industrial use. Based on a plan prepared by,
based on a plan prepared by and approved by us, or no?
No, I
Two.
think that they should.
Or we're going too far?
I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm asking, I'm not,
we just, let's leave it vague. Do you really need to nail all that down? Let them figure out what they want to do.
Yeah, I was thinking more like just a professional that would know this
Yeah,
is saltwater
exactly.
By a
environment.
landscape
right?
professional.
By a landscape professional. Based on a plan prepared by a landscape
Landscape architect?
professional. Not even that,
Go
could be a
that
design,
far.
could be a designer, just someone knowledgeable,
could
you
you
know.
put, they're gonna put those in, right? Or who's gonna put those in?
Yeah, it's on there. It's
Yeah.
part of their
And
plan.
then they, should be
Maintain.
maintained.
well, it's gonna, yeah,
It's gonna be maintained by Park and Rec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've heard our discussion, do you have any concerns or questions about where we're headed?
No.
Okay. This is a nice topo map, but I guess what I was getting at was that this map doesn't show the
Improvement.
division of uses very well. But I wanted an exhibit that we can file with this resolution that clearly identifies the area. Now, we had exhibit
Why
one.
don't we just do it, wait until they do the planting plan, put it all on that
Yeah,
plan.
tax assessor map. Do we have, someone have the last round, which has exhibit 1 and 2? Do you happen to have?
The one
Pam?
before, yeah, last week was Monday.
Really, it's exhibit 1. I want a good, clean, clear map that when it gets scanned and copied and scanned and copied, shows the area in question.
With the walkway, with the plants, with
No, just really the physical
the area.
dimension that, I think it's basically between Short Lane and the pump station,
yeah.
where it's technically under our jurisdiction, right?
Yes.
So it's,
It's almost like a second mini schedule A.
yeah, exactly. Well, a little 8.5 by 11 that's as clean as this, with a
Okay.
nice dark line around that says that's why we're making this resolution. A better exhibit one almost. but-
Just one exhibit.
Yeah, I think
The
so.
land actually being.
Did you find something there?
Just have the,
I have the topo.
yeah,
No.
it's just- that's the only one I have.
We have,
I mean, we could approve this with a condition that that be
Yeah.
created and
You know
filed.
what I'm getting at, like something that just very shows.
the
like,
land area, meets and bounds,
You know,
whatever.
that's what we're talking about, like,
that's why I included this in your package.
yeah.
So
But it
that-
doesn't specifically show the area that we're making the,
Allowing the use of.
allowing this resolution.
Yeah.
Subject to the resolution.
I didn't do that yet, but I was,
Okay.
Got it.
what I first wanted to see if this map was acceptable to you as an exhibit to accompany the resolution. And then I could take a black Sharpie and outline short lane up to
Yeah.
where the fence is.
Yes, that's exactly what I.
Would that work?
Nice dark Sharpie.
You wouldn't need this whole map, you could do a smaller section of it, 8.5 by 11.
No,
Craig, it doesn't need to be this whole map, does it?
no, literally, it
Just
was,
the section
Just a
that
part of
shows.
yeah.
Like a mini Schedule A, like, not a meets
Like,
and
yeah,
bounds.
exactly, because if this will get reduced and scanned
Yeah.
and tortured, like if literally, even if you could fit it on 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, even better.
Clearly, you know, that's what I want. That's the easiest thing to pick up and see again later.
That's cool.
I'm happy to delegate to staff the
Yep.
production of an acceptable Exhibit 1. Is staff willing to take on that delegation?
As always.
Do we want to see it before we approve?
No, I think we're good. It's just buttoning it up, we know what it is.
Okay.
Bob
we
and I
don't-
even walked it.
You're happy with the resolution, we don't have to go back to town council. Town council has seen this, they've approved it per the commission's recommendation,
You want to add that verbiage you just
I think so,
dictated.
yeah.
and we don't need to go to town council, you're happy with, we'll bring it back to you and show you.
Okay.
No,
File it when you're ready.
yeah.
Do you want me to read the edit? Well, why don't you make a motion and read the edit?
I'll make a motion that we approve this with the, underneath the whereas here too, and part of Exhibit 3 we add, whereas the Parks and Recreation Commission will provide adequate landscape screening on the south side of the chain link fence.
Should it be department instead of commission? Parks and Recreation
Commission's
Department?
fine.
Okay.
Chain link fence on the south side of the chain link fence, to provide a visual barrier between the passive use and the more industrial use,
Based on it.
based on a plan prepared by a landscape professional.
Yep, okay. That was the first. Does anybody have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the item? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
You want to hand that to Darren, just rip it out?
Sure.
There's no language.
We are for larger parks.
Yeah,
Wanna
I'll
give
give
it
it
over
over
there?
Yeah, that's the actual language. I mucked it up a bit.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 5, sewer user fee appeals. First, we are going to hear item 5A, 6 Bates Farm Lane, Allison and Jeffrey Ball. Mr. Ball, why don't you come on down and introduce yourself for the record?
I don't think they're here. I
Oh.
think-
I
I were told that you weren't coming, sorry.
With this number, I think it's worth a visit.
think Welcome to the Sewer Commission.
Thank you very much for having us. I'm Jeffrey Ball.
Oh,
And
wait,
I'm Allison Ball.
I'm on page 9 instead of page 1. Okay, so your bill went up a fair amount,
Yes,
and it seems to be from leaks,
yes,
and you have repaired those leaks.
yes,
And your water bill showed an immediate reaction between June of 2018 and July of 2018, once those leaks were repaired.
yes,
And you're very
And
consistent.
yes.
you are looking for a reduction in your 2018 bill down to something more reasonably based on your domestic water use.
Correct.
Anybody here do any math?
Yes. Why wouldn't I? Okay.
So far, it's going smoothly. We'll see.
Thank
what
you.
comes up.
I did it a couple ways. And I think the fairest way is I just used all of 18, 19.
Okay,
And then annualized
annualized
it.
it,
Yep.
okay?
And I got 72 CCFs a year. So for the 17, or excuse me, for this year's bill, it's 406.80. And for the previous year's bill, it was 443.20. Question, have you paid the second half?
No,
Okay, all right.
that's where the flags
No,
went up. To
that's
me,
fine.
I was like, what's going on here?
It's because I've created the, I mean,
I
I've,
already paid 1,300.
I've,
You gotta pay another 1,300?
wrote the,
That's the question.
the remit part of that. So,
Just
for
let
this,
staff figure it out.
huh?
No, come on.
Go ahead, go ahead.
For this year, the remit amount was $937.90. And for last year, the remit, oh, wait a minute, sorry, I made a mistake.
It's okay.
Last,
When you say last year, you mean 2018?
yeah,
And when you say this year, you mean 2019?
yes,
Okay.
sorry. What did I say the bill was for this year? Did I say 406.80?
You
Yes.
did.
Okay, and then for the previous year, did I say it was 398.88?
No, see,
No, it's not what you said.
Okay, I made a mistake, it's 398.88.
Which one?
The bill.
2018?
So
398.
this year's remit is 937.90, and the remit for last year is 443.20. I got my numbers juxtaposed.
The credit and the debit is backwards.
Okay. So we're,
So we almost refund of 443.20
For last year,
2018?
and a refund from this year from their first payment of 937.90.
But you didn't pay that, right?
No,
I paid one.
they paid the first
First,
one, the
yes.
First installment.
that's just
1344.70.
from the first one.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay, so the new bill for this year will be 406.80, and the new bill for last year will be 398.88,
88.
and they will be remitted or refunded appropriate portions to make sure that's the case.
Yes.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All those, oh, well, before I say that,
I'm spun around a
Yeah,
little
but-
bit. I don't understand what kind of notes I'm
You're
supposed to
getting
be
money
taking.
back.
You're getting-
That's exciting.
that's
That's
perfect.
exciting.
You're getting,
But-
so your bill
13.
for last year should have been 398.88,
398.88, okay.
and your bill for this year should have been 406.80. Well, it should have been. We
Yes.
base our bills on the
This
water
year.
company records, so
Yes.
you got the bill for
Yes.
that. But based on the information that you
Yes.
provided
Yes,
on your domestic water use versus the leak,
Yes.
those are the two new bill amounts.
okay.
you should be getting that back.
Dear Lord, thank you. 1,381.11?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and how does that happen? We get a check in the mail?
Between
stop
these
by?
gentlemen and staff and the
Yes.
tax assessor, we'll get it figured out.
Yes. It's not tonight, to be
It's not,
continued.
it's not tonight, no.
I
I did
don't
not
just
bring.
think-
They don't bring the checkbook.
I almost brought mine out of nervousness. Yes, thank you.
Any questions before we vote?
I think I'm done.
Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Silence is very powerful at this point. All those in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I confused, Darren, I'm sorry I got confused in my numbers
Item
here.
5B, 107 Camp Avenue, Norman and Leyland Kenyon. Are they with us this evening? No one's jumping up to come to the podium, so is this one we can handle ourselves?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I have an answer to it, but that's only because I asked Tamara to give me this year's. And actually, my calculations, I believe, are off this year's. The chart here is still very muddled.
Okay.
So I have trouble
Do you want to table it?
making,
Push it
yes,
out
because
one
I
more
have a question for the gentleman.
Okay, let's
Because,
just table it then.
well, and if Casey's listening, because on 5B 2 of 11, he has a proposal with a date, but no date of, that the actual thing was performed.
Okay.
So it's not-
And then on the next page, 3 of 14, he got a bill from a plumber who says, first trip, second trip, third visit, fourth visit, fifth visit.
Wow.
Wow.
And Well, wait a minute, he switches from trips to visits, I like that. But does not give a date of any of them.
Maybe he started developing a relationship. Visit really implies kind of a conversation.
Okay, but I just think that they need to be a little clearer. Because it kind of,
So you would like to know
when it was
the leak
actually
was
performed.
fixed?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but it seems as though there might be several things going on, right? Toilets fixed first, outside irrigation fixed second, checking the water line, that takes a couple of visits to get fixed, that finally gets fixed. So it's multiple things getting fixed throughout these visits.
There's no date either.
Yeah, but I don't know if, I mean, I'm assuming it
Those
was
dates.
fixed in like December or January.
So you would like dates applied to these visits?
At least the final one, yeah, because,
Even the invoice doesn't have a date, so it's kind of.
so I'm kind of confused here.
Okay, so you would like,
And then the other issue that I'll just bring it out, just because I was told it, is the issue of the interest, because Tamara was, in her diligent self, was very diligent about this, but the homeowner was kind of lax. So at what point in time do we not erase the interest?
Something we could, if he comes in, we could talk.
That's fine, I'm just
Yeah.
broaching it now so that,
yep,
you know, I'm not accused of new business later.
appreciate that.
But other than that, I would make a motion to table.
I'll second that.
And
we need a motion.
staff will let the appellant know that we have a few extra questions and would like him to appear on the matter. Thank you.
Do we need a motion on that, Craig, or just?
Sure, all those in favor of tabling? Okay. Tabling is usually tabling. Do you need a vote to table? Do you need a vote to table?
Well, you need a motion to
I'm
move
looking
on.
at Susan, I'm looking at you. Do you need a vote to table?
Don't you need
You
a
guys ever
mo-
table it?
Normally you do.
don't you need a motion to move on?
We had motions for everything.
All right, moving on. Item 6, 17 Freight Court, permission to connect to 14 Freight Court via 4-inch lateral, discussion and action. Who would like to present
No,
this?
I don't think anybody's here for this.
I don't see any 6 in my packet.
We recommend that you table it. I could just give you a brief overview.
Sure.
If somebody wants to connect through somebody else's property, we told them they need an easement. They don't have that information. They also don't have permission from the person that their property that they're going to be crossing. They're going to come back when they have that information
Oh,
for you.
yeah, that sounds great. Reese makes a
Table.
motion to table.
Yep. Bob, you feel like a second?
Oh, yeah. I'll
Peter
second.
seconds that one. Let's get it in the let's get it in the
Peter in.
minutes. Peter seconds it. All those in favor?
Right.
All right, tabled.
Well done.
Item number 7, 5 Mile River Road, the Davis Lane Association potential sanitary sewer connection.
That's exciting.
Davis Lane, huh?
Yep.
Somebody, I gotta get my map out.
On the right.
That isn't the first one, is it on the right?
Yeah,
It's not, the first one is Barry, and
Okay.
Davis is out towards the end.
did they elect not to join the original?
They did, and
Oh.
there's a lot of unhappy people.
2020 hindsight.
Yep. I believe they were, I'm Rob Shuey, by the way, I'm the president of the
Thank you.
Homeowners Association. I was told I'm relatively new to the area, and or to the street, and I was told that we had the opportunity and it was recommended we do it, and we went ahead and didn't do it, and now we're all back.
Okay. Well, was that the end of your presentation?
No, so I guess it's a small road with 9 houses, and we want to explore bringing sewer to every house to the end.
Are the 2 at the corner on or not?
The 2 in the corner are,
They're on, okay.
yeah.
1, 2,
So there's 9 not including those 2?
No, I guess actually there's 7 that need to be hooked
yeah,
up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's the 7th? Is it a rear lot off the end?
You know, there's a rear lot at the end there.
Oh, this one, okay, got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so we wanted to explore how we'd go about doing that. And
And did staff give you kind of an overview of how it has worked in the past and what our normal protocol is?
yeah, one of our,
Yeah,
please.
one of the people who live on Davis Lane came to the counter and we spent a little bit of time explaining the process and that they would owe an assessment to the 5 Mile River project that is a pro rata share. And I gave them some rough ideas on how much money they could expect to spend. Informed them that it would be a low-pressure sewer, no matter what, no matter how high their properties are. So I think they're pretty well informed. The woman took good notes. I think she probably conveyed all that to you.
Yeah. Can I just confirm, like, just ballpark, that this is something in the neighborhood of $35,000 per household to get the line to the house, and then $10,000? And I'm not trying to hold you to anything, I'm just
Okay.
ballpark to see that I got the right.
And I think what I said was 300 to 500 feet for the main, if you went out there and measured it, which I did not. I think the $35,000 number came from the most recently completed project that we did
Previous.
on Clocks Lane, which was estimated at $35,000. So I'd probably put that number out there just as an indication to see if there was sticker shock or if there would still be interest.
Okay, so that's the first 500 feet?
Beneficiaries.
Is that what you said?
That we
The first 500 feet of the line?
No, what I'm saying, the first part of my statement was, figure that the main installation itself costs between $300 and $500 per foot. So if you
Okay.
measure how far the sewer goes from 5 Mile River Road all the way to the end, just for the main, figure $300 to $500 per foot. The
Gotcha.
$10,000 per lateral comes from the fact that the MSRP on a pump is $5,000, so you double that to include the installation. And you're probably gonna be even more than $10,000 because you still have to dig a trench from the road to your house. That cost, the $10,000 for the pump and the cost from the main to the house, is not a part of your assessment. That's in addition to your assessment, and each individual property owner will be responsible for that.
I
Okay.
mean, some people might have their waste line out the back of their house. It might be further to bring it, might have to redo the plumbing inside. So it's a case-by-case basis, and how far you are would, of course, be a factor. And what's
Okay.
on your property? If it's all ledge, it would be more than soil.
And then there's a contribution to the
hookup.
5 Mile project for the new tap.
Is that one connection then?
That's one connection.
So it'd be a pro rata share of the
Yeah,
total?
whatever the assessment was, that's what that project would owe the commission.
So your
Your
the
cost.
7 of you to hook up would pay like 35 grand tie-in-ish, right? Something like
Yeah,
that?
I think it's more like, I think
40?
that project was cheap, it was probably in the 20s.
Okay.
I could, whatever it is though.
So
Are there,
Darren,
it's kind of, there's one payment that goes for that one connection, and the rest would be on our typical normal bond arrangement?
It would all be on a normal bond, because if the Davis Lane project were to go forward, the connection to the 5 Mile River sewer project would be a project cost, just as if we were paying a contractor, only instead they would be paying you.
And that'd be a one single payment out,
One single payment,
and that
but it
would
would be
be
a
part of the
project cost.
bond that go back into the
It would
cost.
all be included in the
Yeah.
bond, yeah, as a project
Okay.
cost. Just as lawyers, contractors, easements, which would be necessary as a private road,
All clear.
all good.
And that's a percentage of the total cost of the project?
No, that would be, yeah, it would be some percentage, but it would,
it's a fixed cost based on that other project, the other sewer
Yeah.
system.
Okay.
It'd be like one more house-ish, right?
yes.
One connection.
One
So that
connection.
percentage would be like 30 grand or 35 grand, fixed based on that. It's all set in time.
Yeah.
That you could get that
Okay.
number.
But
And
that
then
goes
Darren's
back
just
into-
giving you an idea of what did it cost to dig the line from there. And
Okay.
then you guys would have the engineering, you'd have the survey work, you'd have the permit fees. You'd split all those costs and you'd be able to bond it. Pay it
What
over.
was the
About
final
20 years, 20-year bond.
assessment
Okay.
at Clocks Lane?
$31,000 and change.
Per house.
We estimated 35,500 in 2016, and it was, I believe, close to 32,000, 31,900-ish at the assessment hearing. And
So in terms of process, let me first say that it's my belief, based on our past action and general position, especially in coastal areas, that we are pro-sewer. Anyone here at the table, please raise your hand if you disagree with that general sentiment.
I don't know if that's strong enough.
So we're pro-sewer. You're going to find a friend to help you move through this process and get it done. What we would first need to see is buy-in from the 7 people to get the sewer. At the very least, we need majority, and then the association to report that majority. We'd prefer unanimous or near unanimous, because it just makes the process easier, even with one person that doesn't want to pay that $35,000 fee or whatever it turns out to be. So once we see some kind of letter returned to us with signatures from the people that are want us to explore sewers for Davis Lane, we would then make a decision as to whether to act, right? And the first action is really to get a schematic design and a schematic estimate together.
Would we need a benefit appraisal?
Well, I think
When does that?
not immediately. I think we need that for like the assessment before we're actually going to spend the money.
Got it.
So I'm kind of saying schematic design, schematic estimate, putting all these numbers together on a piece of paper to then go back to you and say, you need to be prepared for it to be 40,000 or 45,000 or 37,000 based on our schematic design and schematic estimate. And then you report back whether or not you're still of the mind to go forward. And then things get a little more real. We actually, at that point, would kind of be taking it out of your hands, and the ball would be in motion, right? And we would be making sure we had the benefit appraisal assessment, which says by virtue of bringing the sewer connection to your home, we're going to add more than the value of the assessment. That's actually a legal requirement that we have to go through. So there's an appraisal done. But provided that test is passed, we actually set about going to build it. And once we're building it, be sure that we're going to assess you at the end of the project. So it's a multiple step process. The first one is to show interest of all those involved. The second decision is for us to spend some money as a sewer commission to actually put some better numbers around it, and then we'll go back to you for a second look. And if the second look comes back positive again, then we'll unleash the cork, and it's just a matter of time.
Okay.
Is that a reasonable explanation, Darren? Did I kind of-
Yes.
I think it was very good.
Okay.
Great. That
Yeah.
clarifies the steps forward, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
But everybody on the street's very excited to do it. So I'll get the official, as you mentioned, I'll get the
I
buy-in.
don't know if
from
we have a
everyone.
sample letter, or if we even really need what kind of sample letter for a property owner to announce their support for us to consider this
Always very
project.
simple.
It's usually just been a form, I'm in favor of the sewer, and then everybody signs it.
Yeah.
On a small project like this, it could be one piece of paper that you pass around the neighborhood.
Okay.
Is the road a private road? The
Yes.
association?
It's a private road.
Yeah, it is.
That would be their issue.
Yep.
Yep.
And I understand there's one person who owns the road, is that correct?
She owns part of it.
Part of it.
Yeah, it's sort of.
She's in favor, so that.
She's the sort of driver.
Yeah, the other, as we go through details, there's surveys that need to be prepared. If, through the process, we'll look at the rights of installing utilities in the road, and whether or not additional easements need to be granted or additional deeded information needs to be filed. So that'll all
Yeah, and easements.
be a part of the due diligence.
Now,
as we go
Fox
through the
Lane,
process.
the water service was insufficient. Is that something you'd consider at the same time as
How's your water main?
How's the water main? You guys have good?
As far as I know, yeah, I think it's in good shape as far as I know, but maybe I
Silly
should
to
check
take
into
the road
that.
up twice.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
poor water pressure
So
at
they
Old Main,
wrapped
and
it into one.
they chose to do the water main themselves at the same time.
Would that be pretty obvious, the water
Yeah.
pressure in my house?
That's
Yeah.
one way to tell.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we're in good shape, but I'll double check on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for us right now?
I don't think so.
anyway, I would say that Darren is a tremendous asset. If you have other questions, between sewer commission meetings, he certainly knows more about the process than we do.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have to see how much tuberculation is in the water main.
Moving on. That's like a whole.
No, I'm just,
I know I'm with you. Let's get a beer and talk about it. Number 8, Boston Post Road at Garden City Road, sewer main break of October 2nd, 2018, claims, discussion, and action. First, 18A 1926 Boston Post Road, Darien Bookade, Inc. claim. Should we consider these kind of together, or do you want to go one at a time, gentlemen?
one at a time.
One at a time, please.
Okay. So, we know that their basement flooded. We know that during that flood, they incurred damages. Do we have a value for those damages on here?
Wasn't very much.
It was in another one, I wanted to say, it was
Yeah, I
like,
couldn't find the thing. He gave it to us that first time he
Yeah.
was here.
yeah,
It's less than 1,000, isn't it?
no, it was at least
between
50,
2 and 3, right?
I thought it was like 1,500 for
Was it?
the furnace.
I would certainly need that in front of me before making
Yeah.
a vote. But,
Is there any way we could grab that down? Because it would be nice to get these over with if we can. Whatever they put in the last, it was probably 2 meetings ago.
No, it's longer than that.
Was it longer? Yeah. Could have been when it happened.
you got it, Ed?
Ed,
You got
hold
it?
on 1 second.
He had some previous agendas.
Thought it was, I'd say, December or January.
It's the Bookade one, and this is 1950 Post Road. So maybe it's in there.
So we know their basement was flooded. We know they incurred damage based on that flooded basement. We know we had a sewer main break before they discovered their flooded basement. There was some question when we talked about this last time as to whether or not the cause and effect was related or surmised. And have we kind of independently considered the facts and determined that it was either likely caused by our sewer main break or unlikely caused by our sewer main break? Have we made that determination?
Have we seen this so-called vent? I haven't visited, so I didn't know what they're referring to.
That was part of the problem when he came in. It had
Yes.
been weeks since the break,
Yes.
and no one had been down there, and I'm not saying he's not telling us what he perceives to be the truth. I just don't have any evidence to say
But
how it's gotten there.
But we're able to go out there and we're able to look at the lay of the land. We know where the effluent was running. We know where basement windows might be. We know where sewer lateral connections are coming out of a basement. You guys or Anthony can go out there and say, it's entirely feasible that that's happened, that it's likely versus unlikely. I guess I just need someone on the town side coming to that conclusion, since it's
As opposed
there
to what?
were
Rainwater collection?
because it happened during a significant rainfall event
Yeah.
or a period
My-
of
my
time that-
question-
I mean,
and-
what you're saying is that if you had a significant rainfall event such as occurred with the break,
would a flooded
did they
basement have
have
occurred
flooding
with or
in the
without?
basement
Yeah.
prior?
And their response to that was they've never had a flooded basement. This is the first time they've ever had to go and replace a boiler because of a flooded basement. So that's compelling information.
Yeah.
Yes, and just, I mean, I could be totally off on this one, but if they visited that infrequently and it flooded with sewage and they had a sump pump, it wouldn't have 2 feet of water down there.
Good point.
So so do they have a sump pump in there is a question I would like answered.
But probably
Probably
not.
No, but we can't,
yeah.
I don't think we can
So-
jump to that conclusion. That's a reasonable conclusion, but I wouldn't jump to it.
So,
I mean,
So if they didn't have one, then they probably haven't had flooding before, in which case it leads us that
I
it
wouldn't
was
think
sewage.
there, where they are, the crown of a hill, both sides, it would necessarily be prone to extensive flooding. Just where it is.
Not necessarily having emptied swimming pools all
I know.
over Fairfield County.
And I'm going to look at this a little differently.
What do you got?
In that these numbers are not massive numbers, and I think there's fairness on the part of the people coming forward.
Oh, I
That
believe-
it's a small situation that's most easily dealt with, saying that they're probably honest. And there's probably a relationship between the cause and effect, likely. And I'm not inclined to go in
And-
forensic mode and try and figure out exact, because I don't think we can.
I don't think we're doing
but the only test I'm trying for is likely versus unlikely.
Yes, we
I
need
would
to
say
do
likely.
our
You would say
due
likely.
diligence.
Well, I
So
was,
you're
I
like-
was,
you're
I was there
likely-
the next morning.
Unlikely.
I was,
Yeah.
and watched the pumps going, the 3 of them at the time, and the volume, and it was, I think there's a correlation.
You guys were out there in the middle of the night. You saw it happening. Is this likely?
It's likely,
Less than
it's
unlikely.
likely because of the amount of water you saw come out of the manhole. I can't say it's likely or unlikely because I have been going over to that building and taking a look at the topography, the windows or anything like that. And that's what you want me to do, I will do that. You want me to investigate
No, I
it based
think-
on its location?
I
will
just
do
think
that.
based on the fact that people are honest, and this is not a massive number, it's like, this is what it really took to clean this up. And the fact that it did happen so close, and it is slightly pitched that way, I just take them at their word. And I'd be inclined to,
Okay.
just because otherwise, how do you forensically prove it? You can't.
So, as a matter of just a straw poll, who's ready to vote based on the information presented? And I'll give you the number I believe they're looking for is 2,578.65 or 71.65. There's a couple of different numbers here. But $2,570.
All 3 of those numbers combined.
3.
Yeah.
1,000, 1,100, 1,800 or something like that.
Oh, okay, because there's a couple of different breakdowns here.
Yeah, just total that up.
I will.
I'm looking at everybody's time involved in trying to
Oh, I
figure it
appreciate
out.
that.
And you guys,
But-
your time is more valuable than
I-
anyone else's.
I
I know,
agree.
but
But I also look at precedent, right? We have
If we
said
do this
no
for
to
one
much smaller
claim, do it
claims
for
for
I get
for
that.
not
I completely
providing.
get it. I mean,
the
I
right
I
amount
was
of
there the
information.
next morning, so I could see what was going on still, and I know
Yeah.
you guys worked all night.
So
I wasn't really focused on that.
You're on the ground.
Exactly.
So if I add 1,040, 1,106.34, and 1,887.99, those are the 3 you're telling me to
Yes.
tally, is $4,034.33. So based on that value, who feels they have the information they need today to vote? I'm not asking for a yes or no vote yet, but do you have the information you need to vote? Straw poll, raise your hand.
I do not.
Okay, so we're not voting tonight.
I can't say I'm inclined to go with it, but I want to cement my
If
opinion.
you want to walk it,
with-
I'll go walk it.
Yeah, no, that's really what I want to do. I want to see if there's a sump pump, and I want to see the topography.
So I'll ask,
Just because I would do that if it were $400 instead of,
Amen.
or
I'll agree with that.
$4,000. So it's
So-
nothing
exactly.
personal.
yeah,
It's just my comfort level.
All right.
so
Agree with that.
we need to get to a position where we feel that we have the information we need to vote. And for me, that's determining whether or not we think that this was likely caused by our overflow. Okay, so for now, we're going to table 8A to allow that to happen. Want to switch? Okay. We can't get up there.
Oh, I'm sorry, you could have,
That's okay.
I wasn't even thinking, please forgive me.
They should be back.
Item 8B, 1950 Post Road LLC claim.
Okay.
John Vaccaro, owner of the property, live at 48 Rings End Road in Darien.
Hello.
Hi. I was in front of the commission, I think back in roughly November, trying to preserve our rights with respect to the claim. We obviously suffered a little bit of damage. We did the work, fixed it. We had some insurance proceeds, you'll see in the letter. We deducted the insurance proceeds from the claim. There was also a question about how we were connected, and I brought our mechanical engineer to the meeting, in case you have further questions in that
great.
regard. I thought it might be helpful.
Mr. Peterson.
All of the
I know, John.
plumbing has been rerouted, as I indicated in a letter I wrote to the commission, I think it was back in December, I'm not 100% sure. The letter's in here.
Yes.
So,
I think we do have some questions for Mr. Peterson, if you'd like to step on up.
Okay.
Don Peterson, owner of Peterson Engineering Group. We were the MEP for the base building. So that means that we were the MEP for anything within the foundation lines.
So let me say that first that, yes, if you have an interior floor drain for draining an interior room, whether it's a bathroom or a laundry room or a basement, I agree that that interior floor drain needs to be connected to the sanitary sewer. And if that interior floor drain was in the basement and could not gravity feed, that interior floor drain would need an ejector pump or a Johnny pump or something to force out to the street. Where you lose me is that I don't think that you should be inviting groundwater into...
My drawings do not indicate any groundwater to the sump pit.
Okay.
So the approved design takes in only into account the floor drains that are within the sump, within the basement area,
Yeah.
which is one next to the water heater, one inside the sump pump room, and that is to really pick up the RPZ drainage. So I have a copy of the drawings that are right here, what
Oh,
we
yeah.
submitted with approval. I don't know if it's exactly the construction set, I'm just printing out.
So this is the basement plan.
Here's the basement.
You got an
plan.
elevator.
An elevator ejector. We have the sump pump here, which picks up floor drains from the boiler. And that's it.
So you're saying your design did not anticipate,
This design does not take in groundwater.
It's a sealed,
Okay.
it's a sealed system, it doesn't have an open bottom.
and have you seen the basement since then? And you can
I have
confirm?
only seen the basement after the fact, after I was asked about John about the incident.
Okay.
I went out to take a look at it to see what we can do to prevent it in the future.
Yeah.
So I think the pump specification is here, but it is a sealed system.
So how did, if it's pumped out and that pump has a check valve, how did effluent get into the basement?
That I can't tell you. So it is possible that because I reviewed it after the slab was already poured and after the incident happened, I didn't drain the sump pit out to actually physically see it. When I did the site visit, it was full of water still. So it is possible there was an illegal connection made to that sump pit during construction. It is definitely not shown on the mechanical drawings,
Yeah.
and it is not shown on the site plans. The site plan is in front of there too. So if indeed there is groundwater going in there, it would have never been on my drawings to discharge into the sanitary sewer.
Yeah. I'm glad we agree.
What would your best guess be on the elevation of the bottom of the sump you design and like the footing drains or something? Would that be
Well,
hard
the
to
sump
figure out?
typically is a 4-foot deep chamber, and the footing drains are typically about the same.
Yeah, 40 plus, yeah.
There wasn't any flooding or any water entrance that we saw during construction into the basement or into the sump pit. So, now that doesn't mean that, if there's an unusual hydrostatic pressure that
Yeah.
could not be sealed, and maybe the pump chamber itself was taking in groundwater, but typically, like the elevator pits, they seal that up pretty good when they put the foundations and the slabs in.
And so I guess back to the building owner, the nature of the condition that you observed after the water main break, or after the sewer break, or during the sewer break, what did you see in the basement in terms of impact?
Well, the water backed up through the floor drains in the restaurant Roost. So there's floor drains all in the restaurants. But keep in mind that when the check valve is closed, any internal water systems can't leave the building, right? So the sewer, the lateral, the sanitary was broken, right? Push the check valve closed. If anybody's using any water in the building, is gonna.
So the entire building is fed down to this sump pit? It's not a separate?
The entire building is fed by gravity out the sanitary.
Okay, so the first floor and above goes out by gravity.
Correct.
Right, second floor.
And then the sump pump comes up and goes. Okay, so if you have
Right,
significant
sewer-
back
Sewer
pressure.
main exits about
Yeah,
6 or 7 feet high in the basement.
Let me give you an illustration. So when DPW came back to line the sewer, the new sewer liner with the plastic, we shut all the water off in the building. We shut the feed off, okay? So we shut it all down, because if anybody was flushing a toilet or anything, it was going to get hung up in the building. So I didn't want anybody to use any water. So we told everybody they couldn't use water, worked with Darren on it, and so we shut it all down. And then it wasn't until they made the saw cut through the plastic liner that we could actually turn on the mains again.
Mhm.
So there's pluses and minuses to the check valve system. So one of the things we're looking at is actually putting in some sort of a float switch system, so if the check valve shuts, the mains shut off in the building,
That's a good idea.
which Don has
It's a
designed.
really good idea.
Well, anytime you do,
Check valve plus.
So John, the floor flooding in the, is it Roost or?
Yeah, then what happened is it flooded on the first floor, not the basement.
Right.
Then it came in through the floor into the basement.
Got it.
So
So,
that
and it
could
came,
be-
Yeah, I mean,
and
the back pressure
it basically,
gravity
yeah,
line that doesn't
ba-
have a check
backed
because
up.
the first floor is up.
yeah,
Yeah.
it backed up. There's an interior staircase that's shared with Roost and with the with Danny's, okay? And it went underneath the door for Danny's and into Danny's space, and then down the stairwell into the basement as well, and pretty much covered all of Roost. So they were closed for, I don't know, several days. But there's a lot of people in town that had seen the situation, whether it was the health department certainly couldn't reopen. The health department had to allow Johnny's, the barber shop, to reopen. There was a slight amount of water that seeped in through Roost into their space. The apartments were pretty much untouched. But anyway, so that was it.
Does the description of events sound reasonable to you guys who were out there fighting the fire, so to speak?
The description of our repair was completely accurate.
Yeah.
There's a piece from when we opened up that pipe from the collapse, to open up the pipe to where we went back to do the final repair before we did the liner. We opened up that hole 3 times. The second time we did that, the lateral from 1950 ran all night long. Ran all night long. And we were there until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Vaccaro was there, and I kept showing him, I said, there's no reason for that water to be coming out of that pipe right now.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something
So-
connected to the sanitary sewer that shouldn't
But
be.
John, is it any chance, was it only the sump pump in the pit that was running? Or was
Yeah,
there other
it's
sump
the only
pumps?
one that could have been running. There's other sun pumps in that
And
building.
they discharge
okay?
outside of the parking lot?
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
complex?
There's in the back parking lot, there's a big metal sort of manhole
Yeah.
area, and that's got 2 pumps in it. So, but remember what was going on at the time, that whole 2 weeks, we had huge water table, it was very high, right? So, you know, who knows where it came from? But what we did is, because we're sitting there scratching our head, we figured the best thing to do was to reroute it. So that's what we did within 2 weeks after we saw that, it just kept draining. And frankly, when I came to the commission, I said that it was a head scratcher. We couldn't figure out why the water kept coming. So, because we thought everybody had shut the water off
If
in
you
the
shut
building.
that sump pump down, you look in the pit, does it fill with water?
There seems to always be some water down deep in there. I don't know where it comes from.
Maybe that pit's not sealed well enough.
Well, it's either not sealed well or somebody made an illegal connection. And it's possible the footing drains are there, but the only way to deal with it is to pump it out and take an examination of it.
Maybe that would be a good idea.
Yeah, so let me show my cards a little
I
bit.
mean,
So-
it's already re-piped to the storm system right now because it's taken off of the sanitary system. There's nothing in the basement.
When you say repiped since the occurrence?
Since the
Yeah,
occurrence.
yeah, we did that in, I don't know, November, December, right? It's documented in the
After we
letters.
saw it that night, we went out to look at it, and
Oh, okay.
he rerouted it right away.
So
Yeah.
the concern of running water has been addressed.
Concern-
Yeah, I guess we're-
Yes, going into our sanitary sewer now has been addressed.
We're, just to be clear, we're not making a claim for the rerouting at all. We just
Yeah, I
figured
appreciate
that's on our nickel.
All right, so,
So really, we're looking at the sewage that may have been on the first floor roofs that's solely
Yeah.
related to a check valve and the internal
Yeah.
backup of the
The-
building.
you wouldn't have had it
And
on the
the-
first floor
Yeah.
above the street.
There's no
anyway.
way. It's not
Yeah,
related.
So if you have some surcharge or some backup, you know.
Yep.
So I'm in the land of likely and plausible and reasonable. I don't know, who else has questions here? Questions? Any questions, Bob?
I'm in your land completely.
For the claim, I'm in your land, but I'm still confused. I totally get where Ed's coming from. I mean, is something from the Coltech system, I'll call
Well,
it
sounds-
Coltech system.
But it sounds like that was rerouted
To the
since
Coltech.
the occurrence.
But
Correct?
we're
Or
looking at,
we
we're
think.
we're looking at claims from the night that the pipe collapsed.
Yes.
Right.
So when that collapsed, and that lateral backed up, or whatever happened to it, and shut that backflow valve, and the sump pump continued to pump,
Yeah.
it forced the water up through the floor drains.
Yeah.
That's my scenario.
Right, or if somebody
Oh,
took
you're
a,
saying that the sump pumps caused the floor drain?
It's got to
Or-
pump its
Oh.
own.
If the
Or
sump pumps
the-
weren't running, then maybe
Would they have-
without
But-
surcharge. then they
even,
could have
even
been-
if somebody was taking a shower in the building or running their washing machine, you would have still had the flooding.
Yeah, if the backflow valve
But a
is
sump
closed-
pump is far, I mean,
It is
you're
more
getting
water.
2 or 3 gallons a minute out of a shower head, you're getting
But here's
35
the deal,
out of a sump pump, so it's considerably different.
But there's still 2 residential units upstairs, too.
There's 4.
Toilets.
Four
appreciate-
residential units.
I appreciate the cooperation of replumbing what seemed to be a groundwater discharge. I think that's a show of good faith. If things weren't 100% perfect before the incident and it was a contributing factor, you know, I get it, but, you know, it's a contributing factor. The primary factor was the fact that the sewer main break. So I don't know. That's where I am. Unless I shouldn't be, let's tell me I'm missing a big piece of information here that I should think about.
Would the sump pump be able to pump that much, that high? And create, well, you're talking about 10 feet above,
Well,
right?
the-
Well, it's
The
got
sump
pump
pump
up to the lateral.
So it's 4 feet below.
The sump pump is designed to pump from the base of the sump pit up
Right.
to the sanitary main,
Right,
which
which
is
is
still in the ceiling.
plus
of
8
the-
feet.
It was actually designed for 21 feet of total dynamic head, so yes.
Okay. So
The
yes.
answer is yes.
Yeah, So you could get into the first floor.
And how many
It's just that
GPMs?
sheet.
310, holy smokes.
310 gallons per minute?
Is that
That's
true?
what's on the design.
one
One of the
heck of a
problems is that you could have a catastrophic discharge of the RPZ. So that.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with RPZ.
An RPZ is a backflow preventer that's required under domestic water. It's a reduced pressure zone system. Now, that typically drips when pressure fluctuates in the water main. But
Okay.
at any single time, if that fails, you could get the whole of the water main opening up into the
And
basement.
that's what
Yeah,
creates the
we
And
radius.
have-
and
we
that
have-
is why the size of the
That's why
sump
higher
pump
engineers
is.
should-
We get,
So
we,
had it not been for that RPZ, we wouldn't probably even have a sump pump down there, to begin,
Okay.
to tell you the truth. Because we only have, like I said, the 2 floor drains and, you know, that RPZ really specifies the size of the sump
That's why I'm
pump.
surprised the pump's that big. It all had to do with.
Yeah,
the
so
order.
catastrophic discharge of a, 2-inch line is gonna, at 65 pounds is what you have to design for.
Do you have any further questions?
No.
Pete, do you have any further questions? Bob, do you have any further questions?
So
Depending on
it
where.
seems like it's, I'm sorry, but it seems
I
like,
gotta ask. I
it
gotta
seems
ask.
like it's the chicken or the egg. Is the water coming from, the sump pump gets to the basement and then the sump pump pumps it out and pumps it
And
to the
it sounds
first,
like it was both.
first floor?
Well, here's the issue too, depending on where the main breaks. So if you had a pressure buildup in the main of the street that closes the backflow check valve on the sanitary system, you don't know what the pressure is right there. You have a collapsed main, you don't know how much the pressure is. That house in Wallace Point 6 or 7 years ago, where the Stanford had the main break, it hit the roof of each one of the toilets inside the house. So it was like, that was at the end of my street. I lived through that. So, I mean, that was connected to the gravity system. The main got broken in front of the gravity system, turned it into pressure main, which is your pressure main entering Stanford. And that was, like a geyser through the toilets.
They had to take the house down.
Yeah, they had to redo the whole house.
Do you need any more information before being able to make a judgment on this claim?
Okay, so manhole, first floor, elevations,
Manhole in the street's lower than the first floor.
how much?
Probably
Not long.
only a couple of feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first floor is grade entrance at the front, right? So it's 8 or 9 inches above grade. That may be a few inches above the street level where the top of the manhole is.
It was shooting up, you probably saw it, Ed, it was shooting up from that manhole right behind the break, like 1 story in the air. I'm talking about in the street, in the post road.
It's trickling down the floor drain of the building.
It's trickling out of the floor drain and shooting up to the manhole.
Meaning that the backflow valve really worked for
The
it.
backflow preventer was working.
What pressure are those rated to? It sounds like that was a test.
Well, that's a flapper, so,
Yeah.
once it closes, it's a mechanical device.
Yeah.
Closes,
It could be
closes.
rated at 150 pounds.
We opened it up after the fact to make sure that everything
looks
was
good.
there and it was working, that we didn't see anything. It's a solid cast iron piece.
Well, one way to look at it, Bob, is there was no effluent at all in the building, in the restaurant, because no toilets were flushed, it would just have been water.
But you have 4 apartments upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a
I
good
mean,
way to
the
look at
waste
it.
came from the building, and it didn't go
But even if
anywhere
it,
because of-
even if it did come from the building, right,
Yeah.
it can't get out because of the problem in the street.
Check out.
Do you have enough information to be able to make a judgment? You know what, I'm going to change it, because I've given you a couple of tries.
Go ahead. No,
So,
I'm
gonna do
good.
this. Who is in favor of closing discussion on this item? Raise your hand. Okay, so we're going to close
That's
discussion.
fine, there's no personalities here, it's just, I'm just not,
Before we entertain motions, do you guys have anything else you want to share with us?
Just that the other building, 1958, was plumbed the same way. We rerouted that too, just for the
Okay.
record, just because we thought,
That's helpful.
you know.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion? Oh, let me,
I
a
still
number,
think
hold
we need our eyewitnesses account.
these
Because,
gentlemen?
yes, he's our eyes there, I haven't been there.
So the claim, let me just confirm, the claim is for $2,922.17.
Yep.
I mean, I wish I had gone there, but
We
I
can do that
wasn't
under
there.
further discussion. Is there a motion on the table?
Yeah, I make a motion to pay the 2,900 and, how much?
$22.17.
17 cents.
17
Do
cents.
I have a second on the
I'll
motion?
second that.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion before we vote? Gentlemen, do you have anything to add that we should know about? Okay.
No, because I haven't seen it, so I have to just keep my mouth shut.
You sure?
Yeah, I spoke my piece by saying I'll keep my mouth shut.
All those in favor of paying the claim?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
All those abstaining? Okay. 3-1. Thank you for your patience and your cooperation, gentlemen. Nice
Thank
seeing
you
you,
for
Don.
thank you for coming in too, we really appreciate it. That adds a lot of light to that.
It is helpful to
Yeah.
have these discussions with everybody in the room, you know, because it's easy to get misinterpret facts. All right. Item 9, 719 Boston Post Road, Old Town Hall Sewer Connection. Swan Kaus?
No,
Oh,
I'm
that's not
Emily
you.
Jones. Go with the
Emily
easy
Jones.
one.
Oh, discussion and action.
So like it's from the first time.
Yes, well, whose family had stomach flu.
You guys draw straws?
So.
You got the short straw. Got it. Well, or maybe he got the short straw. Stomach flu? That didn't sound very good.
Go to my house to help my kids with stomach flu.
All right, we tasked you with making the case
Yes,
for telling us that our sewer has adequate capacity.
Yes.
And you've chosen a point downstream that
Correct.
you think is a logical place to stop that study.
yes.
Floor is yours.
This,
This is Emily, oh yeah, we got her on the
Yep.
agenda, Emily Jones.
for the record, Emily Jones, professional engineer with Civil One Engineering in Woodbury. So this is a little bit zoomed out because we wanted to get the area of the sanitary sewer that we did look at. Sanitary manhole, I'll just flip this around and give you an overview. So this highlighted area is the property on which we're proposing to increase the number of bedrooms, right, from 30 bedrooms to 57 bedrooms. And I believe at the last meeting, C1 went over the new flow numbers that we came up with, which was based on 4 years worth of data, adding a safety factor of 1.5. And then we also added a peaking factor of 4.24 to come up with sort of our max flow from the site. So basically what happens is this property is sort of the start of this leg of the system. There's an 8-inch pipe that comes down to manhole 95A where it crosses the street and then comes back down Post Road through a 12-inch sanitary line. There's a couple different areas that come into that vicinity of the sanitary line. So we chose manhole 85 to analyze the flow using a flow meter. Bring it up.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that in front of Post Corner?
No, it looks like it's at Sedgwick.
Right. So.
That's Post Corner, so it's one block up.
Right by the yoga studio there.
Right, so now we have water,
bar
you know,
method.
this comes from here, this starts here, and comes down, it's gonna go all the way down here. Academy Street is in there and crosses the road, and
Fairly large sewer shed.
pretty comprehensive area that we tried to analyze. So basically, we did analyze the capacity of this 8-inch line, really just for the flow that we anticipated through that. And then we used the flow meter that was installed to determine the flow that through manhole 85 and add to that our anticipated peak flow.
So you had a flow meter in 85.
Uh-huh.
And how long was it in for?
It was in, it's been in since like 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, but the peak flow rate happened Sunday.
It rained all
In
day.
case anyone was out in the rain.
I was outside all day.
So, I kind of thought that was interesting. So, and it's been wet, you know, the ground, we've had a lot of rain. So if there's any sort of
So
infiltration.
what was the
that's
peak flow
happening-
rate on Saturday?
So-
On Sunday, I'm curious.
Let me, look, I know it in CFS,
Do you
but I
ever
don't
think
know if
that
that's,
instead of having to go up to go back, just connect it to the
That
12
helpful,
inch
but-
sooner? Does the site, is that academic? I'm being crazy or?
It's fun, well, the reason it's done that way is so that you don't have to constantly dig up the street
Alright.
to get it, you know.
I was thinking that.
The other thing is that there's that cable that was done like 12
You're
years
right.
ago.
The volt,
Yeah, the electric.
Electric, yep.
Right, so the flow rate and the depth in the pipe were obtained downstream at manhole 85 in order to obtain as much of the sewer shed as we could. And they've been reading continuously. The peak flow we saw was around, was on 5/6. So that actually, was Monday, but it was 7 a.m. Monday. So I think that's
Makes
like,
sense.
you know,
Pulsing.
yeah. And that maximum flow through manhole 85 at 7 a.m. on Monday was 470.72 gallons per minute, or 1.05 CFS.
Okay.
At that time, the depth in the 12-inch pipe was about 8 inches. So it was
At
running.
capacity, it was running full effectively.
Getting up there.
And so what we estimate the peak demand flow rate from this property to be 0.05 CFS, which is taking.
That's not
you
just
know,
your increase, that's the whole property?
Correct.
Okay.
That is the whole property. And so that brings your existing peak flow at manhole 85, if we ran this again, from 1.05 to 1.1. So
What's the slope of the 12-inch, do you know?
the slope is shallow. We analyzed the shallowest. We had them survey all of those segments of pipe, and the shallowest is about like 0.2%.
And, okay, so
so-
of all the 12 inches from 85 down to the next.
Right, there's some at 2%,
Yeah.
there's some at like 0.7.
What's the average over that distance from 85 to Mechanic Street? Or,
I wish I had that. If I had to guess, it would be under 1%, because most of them were running in the 0.6 to 0.8, and there were a few segments that were like 2%. And then we chose just to analyze the one that was at 0.2%.
okay. What's the
So
capacity
the
of that?
capacity of the 12-inch pipe at 0.2% is about 1.6 CFS. So
Okay.
we're anticipated that it's at about 70% of full flow capacity, and that, you know, this is a very sort of small
Yeah.
increase in that.
Do you, just a question, do
Yep.
they have an area rain gauge tied to the flow monitor, or are they just using Bridgeport, or what are they?
To be honest, I'm not sure. The
Okay.
contractor
Yeah.
wasn't in our scope, and they didn't want to add it to our scope, so he
Yeah,
arranged
okay.
it with the company
to have
that
that.
installed.
Yeah, I guess we would just like, once you finally pull the flow meter, we would like all the data shared with the town.
Okay.
It'd be very helpful to us.
So I have a login information, so I could download all of that.
Yeah, I mean, download this
information.
last 3 weeks is
Yeah,
great.
That'd be huge.
It's good,
Yeah.
it's good period. Pick the right period of time.
honestly, were we lucky? I guess. So in the report, I have the letter summarizing it, and then we also have the backup calculations for our flows, the capacity calculations for 6, 8, and 12-inch pipes at those pitches, and then how we came up with the peaking factor. And then this is the data summary report. It doesn't show every reading, but it shows the maximum reading on each day.
Oh, there it is.
I handed these out, you guys.
Oh.
So we are just receiving it today. Does
Yeah.
the staff want time to look at this, or are you happy with the presentation made?
We just got this today. Ms. Jones is here to present to you folks. If you want us to look it over, happy to do it.
Okay.
So this is, we have the flow
Yep.
information
Yeah.
and we have the depth information,
Great,
the maximum for each of the days.
fantastic.
I guess I just have more of a general question, maybe to you guys. When the systems are created, you have existing zoning with uses, with capacities, with the concepts of future development. At what point does the system lack that foresight for development that comes forward? I mean, when is a subsystem, when is the whole system way beyond what it was built for as we develop more as a town? Where's that point?
The development exceeds the original plan.
Okay.
But
So
there's a host of,
I know I'm asking a weird question, but.
I love your weird
The
question.
downtown area grows.
But
Yeah, but
there's so many other different things, like when the sewer system was made, we had 5-gallon flush
6
toilets,
gallon,
you
yeah,
know, and
sure.
now we have
Yeah,
like
sure,
1.28 gallon flush toilets,
Yeah.
right, you know. Things have aged, so perhaps we do have more I&I than,
Yep.
you know, a new perfect system from 60 years ago or 50 years ago, right? So there's other factors that are affecting,
So it's constantly
Constantly
moving
in both-
target.
in both
That's why we
directions.
do the flow meter test to get our
Yeah.
snapshot of
and
reality
you can look
right
at,
now.
you know, what's the, I bet if you looked at census data, right, average per capita per home
Could be changing.
could be changing, could be going down, could be
Yeah.
going up,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, your toilet examples are
Yeah.
perfect.
So it doesn't
Fast
necessarily
each hours.
mean, oh, there's a new bigger house, or we added a second commercial building when there was one, you know, I mean, I don't see,
I'm only trying to put, I'm not an engineer, to put that into my head, how one would have developed this in 1938 or whenever this was
Yeah,
implemented,
yeah.
and what those factors were in the foresight to
Yeah.
where we were headed, and then take today's data and what it is today and what it can do today, and what its inefficiencies are based on how old it is.
yeah, I don't know if there's a simple answer. I mean, basically, they were population projections.
Yep.
You know, that's how you do kind of a
The
short sewer shed
formula
analysis.
indicates that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Square root of the population times, what is it,
yeah.
18 or plus?
Yeah.
Plus 18.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, those charts, your peaking factor chart, that chart's been around for
Yep.
1954. You know, so yeah.
No, your answer is.
From my wastewater management class, that's what I remember.
Right.
Population, a projection of population.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
and
good.
you know, up where I live, you rarely see a sanitary sewer line greater than 12 inches, but I know down where we're working in like Stanford, that thing comes out at like,
Yeah.
36
18,
inches.
24, 42.
They've
Yeah.
got
I think it goes in at 42.
And then you've got
in the
some that are
plant,
combined
at
with the-
42.
From two directions.
storm, and that's a disaster, you know.
Yep.
And then they split them apart, and
Yep.
then your capacity increases again, and
I think later in this agenda, we're going to learn more about how we're going to study our system. And I think the best thing we can do is understand how it's performing today.
And that's why this was responsible, that we actually took
Yes.
flow meter data.
I
for
think
the
this is,
sub-sewer
I
shed
think
to
for
find
this
out.
size project, this is exactly what we should be doing. When there's a question.
Yeah.
When there's a, well,
And
it's kind
then
of small and
the
flat.
result is, we know your project's comfortably within our system,
Yep.
and we know how our subsystem, this part, is performing to some degree when you overlay the rain data for I&I.
Do any commissioners have any further questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I would
I
like.
should just, Bob, you now have the floor.
And I'll, if I'm being frivolous, you tell me.
Okay.
This chart, okay,
Okay.
the existing water data consumption, which
Yep.
they're using to extrapolate to get the flow in the future. They're using 2 years out of 5, which are slightly askew, shall I say.
There's fewer tenants.
They are 30% below the other 3. So
What
I
were-
would,
What were the number of bedrooms again? 57?
57.
And your design flow is 7424? So they're looking at 130 gallons per day per bedroom.
But these are people that, and I don't want to group anyone together, but these are people who spend probably a fair amount of their day at home.
But that's a real number. Like, we're designing a new system and we're not even using water usage data. Sometimes we'll use 150, but that's assuming double occupancy of every single bedroom.
Well, the normal people leave the house a great deal more, no? I mean, maybe I'm taking this too far, but I didn't care for them using those 2 years. I would have wished they
Yeah.
dropped them, is my
Drop
knee-jerk
the
reaction.
2.
Go back,
or
rate
use
the last 2,
use
because
14, 15, and 16 instead.
Because, I mean, they're not like 5%
Well,
different, they're 30% different.
So let's just play with the math for
Devil's
a second.
advocate.
Yeah, let's do 2830 plus 2923 plus 3066 is 8189
You're gonna get around,
divided by
you're gonna get around 2,900 there,
3
29 and
divided
change.
by 30. Well, what I'm getting is 98 gallons per day per bedroom.
Okay. No, but then you throw in their safety factor.
So that's times 1.5.
So that's, but I'm just saying,
147.
you can make numbers work in your favor or someone else's favor. I mean,
All right, times
you know.
57.
So,
So
yeah.
it would be the difference between 8,378
Correct.
gallons per day and 7,400.
So if you did
so 1,000 gallons,
percentage-wise,
okay.
just because I'm not totally sure, like, I don't know off the top of my head. gallons per day.
13%.
So you'd go from 0.05 CFS to 0.054 CFS.
I agree, 0.56.
Okay,
Yeah.
And the pipe would still have capacity.
okay.
Well, you're absolutely right, though, Bob, to look at it that way, because it wasn't tenanted fully in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
more pointing
but
out,
that's what you-
I'm more pointing out the method,
The
and
methodology.
to me, they shouldn't have used it.
Yeah.
It's still good, but they shouldn't have used it. They should have shown restraint and not tried to, I'm sorry, but pull the wool over our eyes, because 30% is 30%.
13%.
30.
13.
The difference between 2,000 and 2,900?
No, 20, so their average.
I'm looking at the average usage gallons per
Yeah,
day.
the average, they came up with 2,600 based on all 5 years.
Yes.
If you drop the 2 low years, you end up somewhere around 2,900.
Okay, all right,
That's
three, all
that's
right,
13%.
okay, my mistake. But still, that's 13%. I'll take a 13% raise if someone wants to mistakenly give it to me.
For serving on this commission, granted.
How about across the board, all the volunteer organizations and then?
That too.
Okay,
This also
Multiple
isn't
zero.
taking into account that all of the new apartments and the new building is going to be up to new energy codes. Those low flow faucets, those low flow toilets, those
Water
energy
sense.
serve, you know, everything. So
We'll have a new
I don't
PVC
really
pipe all
think
the
we're
way out
that
to the
far off
connection
base.
point.
What,
We'll
sorry?
have a new PVC pipe all the way out to the connection point.
okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, so do commissioners have any further questions before we entertain a motion to grant the connection?
No, I just want to say I appreciate all the work you guys have done.
Sure,
Really
sorry,
gives
it
us
took
a level of
a
comfort.
little bit of coordination, some time.
This is, so if you're back here again, this is what we want. It's good.
Okay,
Do I have a motion to allow the connection at Old Town
I'll
Hall?
move that.
It's
Second.
moved by Reese, seconded by Peter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? 4-0. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Hopefully the rain can stop now.
Yeah.
We've got our data, we don't need it anymore.
Coming tonight. Item 10, 74 Christie Hill Road, sewer lateral connection permit issue. Do we have further discussion on that tonight? I don't see.
I
That
did put
was-
something in the package.
Yeah.
If you, I'll just go by memory. The commission asked last time, thanks. The commission asked last time that we see if we could maybe look into the sewer,
Yeah, get a camera.
Video.
Yes.
and we did.
How was the construction?
And the results of what we found are in the package. Everything was great. There's only one
Oh, there it
problem.
is.
We used our push camera. We asked Ms. Christensen if we can come on her property. She, so of course, said yes. We found the clean out with no problem. We used our push camera to try and make it out to the main in Greenleaf. We didn't have enough cable.
We looked at half of it, basically.
More.
More than half.
Yeah, we fell, I don't know just exactly how far we fell short, but we went 200 feet and from the property line towards Greenleaf, and everything was in good shape.
Okay, so the quality of workmanship was good and the condition of the lateral is good for that portion that we saw, which was well more than half.
Yes,
Okay. Now, the second thing we asked for was whether or not they could find the location of cleanouts at grade, which would allow us to position the pipe and confirm that it was in the easement.
we did not do that.
They were gonna do that.
They did not do that.
The developer, I think, said he was gonna go around and walk and look for the cleanouts.
Yeah.
That's what I recall.
We didn't find any other cleanouts when we went out there, and nobody from either property owner approached us.
Okay, so we're getting close.
Or
This
the-
is good
or the-
information. Does anybody have questions about the information presented? And I guess I'd go back and say, now we just need to know where this thing is. Did you see anything in the camera that showed cleanouts coming in?
Did we see anything in the camera?
Did you see any cleanouts as you were pushing
No.
down?
No, if we saw a clean out, they would have walked
No,
around
they
the
would've
yard and
noted it.
looked for
Did they
it.
get
Yeah.
past where the property line?
Oh, they would have used it, that's
Yeah,
right.
we started at the property line.
Oh, you did?
Between the two properties and went towards Greenleaf. We assumed that Ms. Christensen's sewer, up to
Is
that
good.
point, was fine. The issue was on the
Yeah.
Pagliarulo developed property
Got it.
Yep,
on Greenleaf.
So we just need a sketch of where it is, right?
yeah.
What was the, or do you know, was the clean out before, I mean, it had to make like basically a 45. Was the clean out before or after?
Yeah, there is a 45 in the,
Or 222s, something?
Yeah, it jogs. It doesn't bend.
It
at
comes down
property
from the
line.
house and it did go like through the property. Now it has to go,
Yeah, they moved it.
so there has to be some kind of a bend. I was wondering where the clean out was in perspective to that bend.
I don't know. I wasn't there when our guys TV'd it. I had them tell me if they.
So were
what
they able to
for.
look at it, there was a clean out on the property lines?
It was right on the property line.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
it's
okay. So
very
that's-
visible.
that's
It's
actually the
sticking
angle
up in
point.
the
That's the
air.
angle point.
That's the angle point, probably.
Yeah.
well, they got really close then, if they went 200 feet from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're saying it's PVC. I'm wondering if the one
Oh, and so we.
on Christie
we
Hill
just
would
need
have
to
been
know where that cleanout
PVC.
is on the
Yeah,
map.
yeah. And if it was
And we-
straight,
And if we can get that clean out on that easement map.
yeah,
We might be there, because we can just assume,
go straight.
yeah, go straight. Well, we need somebody to take the easement map and map the location of the clean out on it.
And sketch it.
Yeah, maybe there's some ties, maybe they have to get somewhere to do it.
If they can find it.
Pull ties to it.
Well, we were in it,
Property line
But
distance.
they didn't find the cleanup.
we were in the clean out. We
Yeah.
actually used
Oh,
the
you
clean
were?
out at the
Oh,
corner.
You just measure to the corner of the property, the clean out, and you
Yeah.
overlay it with the easement.
Yeah,
And if it's straight, you can
Yeah.
assume it's in the easement, I
a
guess.
sketch of the location of the clean out and a projection of the lateral.
Start with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll bring that back on the map.
yeah.
I think it was cool, everybody seemed to cooperate here. The
Yeah.
guy from 19 years ago shows up to talk about it, and the guy driving the truck that worked for the company. I thought that was cool, it's nice to know. A lot of people are helping solve a mystery.
Thank you, gentlemen. Number 11, 3 and 4 Turnabout Lane Sewer Line Repair Update.
Okay, we just kept this on the agenda until it goes away. Anthony,
Is there anyone here to talk about?
yes, there is, Mr. Hagender's here. Just to update the commission from our perspective, Anthony performed inspections. He found one small problem. There was a 90-degree bend used to, on the gravity portion of the sewer, we don't allow a 90. So the remedy is 245s. That hasn't been done yet. Otherwise, everything else has been inspected. It is passed inspection, and we have given permission to backfill. Everything except
The
Either-
245s. we have to
either
put
backfill that
eyeballs
one
on.
spot and dig it up, or fix it, and we'll come look at it.
And
That
where,
location, I
where,
believe, is right at the house. Where
Yeah.
it comes out of the house.
oh,
Not
so
in
it's
front of
solely
the
on
Yazoo property.
Mr. Hagender's property? The 90?
The part that we need to see is very near to Mr. Hagender's house,
Okay.
and not in any way.
So everything
interfering.
else could be backfilled that anyone else might need to drive over, use? That's,
We gave permission for it to be backfilled.
Has been
I
backfilled.
don't know, as I sit here, whether it has been backfilled
Why don't you come on,
or not.
just announce your name for the record.
Hi, good evening. Alan Hagender.
So what's the schedule, what's the plan?
Everything you said was absolutely true. We have instead of the 90, he wanted the 245s sweep, which I had no problem with doing. He looked at everything else. I changed over a connection from Schedule 40 to Schedule 80, which he approved, and I started backfilling that. So everything else is kind of going to schedule. I had to dig everything up, so he could come look at it. Looked at it and started backfilling it. So I've
So
been battling.
what's the plan now? What's your schedule?
Backfilling and take care of the 45.
So how much?
So we're right on schedule. We just, I have work, we have rain,
Yeah.
and I had jury duty, which kind of
Oh, yeah.
did you have to serve?
a week, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, great,
Did your civic duty?
So it's been a challenge, but it's going.
If you had to project, how long is it gonna take to,
It'll be done by the time she comes back next month.
well, give me a date.
The next few weeks, I can't give you a date because I'm
Within
doing it
the
with an
next
actual
month?
shovel. I can't give you a date because I can't have a contractor come down there because she's threw everyone off the property so far. So I have to do it with a shovel.
Okay.
I'm doing it myself,
Okay,
unfortunately.
all right.
She threw 3 contractors off the job. That's why this is like this. And the job shouldn't even came to this to begin with because she provoked the whole thing. So I'm doing the best I can to remedy this for the town.
Okay.
Should we just keep this open and then next month?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're working towards getting it
You can
finished.
do whatever you want. I'm just giving you an update.
Thanks for
We're
the
just
update. Do you
trying
have
to be
anything else?
helpful
that-
here.
Yeah, I'm
We
just
know.
here really just to protect my name. That's it.
Okay,
'Cause I see that she decided to come tonight, so I figured I should come too.
all right, thank you.
Save myself a month of aggravation.
Anything else?
No,
We should
that's
know.
just, no, as long as you're
Okay.
updated, you know what's going on.
Thank you very much. I have a question for you, actually.
As you know, my name is Katina Espiazu. We was here last month, almost 35 days ago, and we spoke, and we told them that we was gonna be helpful, not making more problem or anything. But as of me, as of looking right now, with 35 days, May 1st was the inspection, when Anthony went to check inspection. Since that, we are May 7th. He's right, it was raining and everything. But that doesn't take long to cover, because I don't care his side. I care my side, like I'm being saying here, that we don't have access to the parking lot. Now, it's not only seeing the dirt, the mess, also seeing garbage, because everything that Mr. Hagan does, he leave it there. It's like that's a dumpster. And I appreciate that for you guys to help me out, because we've been very impatient with this mess. And I believe he don't have intention to fix that. So see, he doesn't have that, I want to do it, because he already got the past inspection in front of our house. I don't care his size, if he want to take 3, 4, 5 years, I don't care. I care the size, the mess, and not only that, it's about the mess. It's because so much aggravation. People come over, can park. It's difficult because it's a small street. And then as you see in it, and then the last time he said, no, he's not following us. Of course, he's following us, he's harassing us, and he don't stop. And I don't know what else I have to do.
All right, so all I'm hoping for is that we have the continued cooperation to get this resolved. I understand it's taken a long time, and I've heard everything you've said, but do we have continued cooperation to allow the work to be completed?
Okay, now I say, how long more? Because speaking
Well,
with
I'll
Anthony.
I'll answer the question. We meet again in 4 weeks, and I don't want to talk about this anymore. That's my hope.
That's what I'm saying, because I came here and I talked with Anthony, and he's very clearly, he explained to me, and he told me, all the side of the mess that you have in front of your house and your parking lot is done, past inspection.
Okay.
Only problem that he have in his side with the pump, I don't care.
Okay.
Again, I'm here for my convenience because we going too much aggravation.
Understood.
Here is my son, he's a driver too, so we have to park the car very far away. Sometimes my other neighbor have a problem parking his car because he has to backing up, not hitting the car. So he has to understand that. He don't hurt me only, he hurt the other neighbor, even sometimes he hurt himself because when we park on the side, he can come out.
All right. Do you have anything else that we should know?
No, I'm only want to say is, again, we giving enough time since December, all this mess. He's claiming so many things that I don't want to say it again, like you say, because we're talking here just to cover that and done. After that, you're not going to see me, you're not going to hear about me. That's it.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
please, with all diligence, we just love to get this wrapped up, as I'm sure
We're happy.
you do, too.
So first of all this started because of her, because she parked on top of my sewer pump that I couldn't repair. If she just allowed me to repair it on Thanksgiving, that would have been done already. Okay, simple pump repair. So this whole thing is her little doings here. So
But look,
I don't want to hear any more about it from her.
Revenge is not going to get us anywhere.
Right.
We're
I'm
one
doing
way-
what I'm supposed to do.
One way
Okay?
towards resolution, and we're close.
Yeah.
So
You
let's
should
just
you
button
should
it up.
suggest to her to hire an attorney is what she should do, and get an attorney after me like I did. Okay, I don't know why she keeps coming to you guys. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to try to alleviate the problem. I'm doing my best. I have to live with her. I'm sorry, but
All right. So you're going to do your best.
I am.
And we're going to get this wrapped up. That's all. That's
we
all.
hope so. We're trying.
All right.
I'm one person. She's not allowing any of the other people down the driveway to do it for me. The 3 contractors are already
So-
gone. They're not coming back.
When did those 3 contractors attempt to come to the property?
If we want to have a meeting next week, I could give you all the documentation. We all had that in the last
That was
meeting. We went
before-
through all that. My wife
Yeah,
has
prior
it.
to the last meeting. Since then, you've been doing it yourself.
Yeah, there's no contractors coming back. She's threatening to sue every single one of them. So what do you want me to do? I'm doing this myself. I'm trying to help the town of Darien out by doing it myself. Because the town of Darien didn't help me with this at all. At all. He helped me with it. As far as everybody else around here, no. Darien Town Attorney, the attorney never got in touch with me. So I don't know what the health department made an attempt, and then they gave up. They ended up working for her as her representation. I'm not sure what's going on.
I remember the time.
Yeah, nobody's done anything to help me out as far as the town. These 2 guys are the only ones that help me out.
We appreciate
And
that.
that's why that's the only reason why it's getting done. If they didn't help me out, it would not still be just sitting there with a big dug open, no permits, nothing. At least we got a permit. It's going through. It's getting done. I don't know what else we have to talk about.
So you got 245s and some digging to do.
I have backfilling to do. Yeah,
Okay?
it's going. You know, I told you, like I have a job, 2 jobs,
I
rain
understand.
and jury duty last month since this happened, and I still got inspections done.
Yeah.
All right.
So mind you, I had to dig it all up for Anthony to come look at it, change the fittings out. So, I mean, I'm one guy. What do you want me to do? I'm trying.
Okay.
She could have alleviated this whole thing from happening from the beginning.
We can't change.
I'm the one that didn't have a house for over a month. Did we forget that?
No.
All right,
Not at all.
all right.
I'm just trying to wrap it up.
Yeah, me too. I'm just here to defend myself. That's all reason why I'm here. Okay, I'm just keeping you updated. I know Anthony's been
We
updated.
appreciate that you guys both, everybody appreciates how hard these guys work.
Yeah.
To get things resolved. Sometimes they're almost unresolved.
Otherwise, it would just be sitting there uninspected and just,
But that compliment goes a long way, because I know you guys have been through a lot.
I really wish other people in town hall could have helped me out in the beginning. It should never even came to this, but that's a whole other thing.
But at least you found somebody that did.
So it's getting done one way or another. 30 grand later.
We're on the same path.
I know, I hear your commissions, the meetings, have a lot of stuff to deal with. So, we have a sewer commission trying to get this stuff alleviated.
Thank you.
So, all right?
Thank you.
So I thank you, I'm sorry we're here again. Has to happen, I guess.
You have something that you'd like to add for the record?
Sure. So my name is Carlos Aspiazu. I reside in 3 Turnbow Lane. You guys are the commission, correct? All I ask is if we can get an actual estimated timeline for when we can expect this to be done. So that way it can be documented. Because as he said, he was very busy last 2 weeks or whatever. There was rain, so we can understand there were implications. Now that the weather's nice, it is supposed to rain a couple days from now, but I'd still like an actual timeline of when we can expect this to be done. So that way we don't have to keep kind of going back to what caused the problem, why it's delaying. We can get a viable, reasonable timeline right here, right now. And I think that sounds fair.
I'm gonna, you know what? Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
I think there's extenuating circumstances, and we've heard testimony that it could have been done quicker if there was more cooperation. But as long as we have cooperation now, we're hopeful to get this wrapped up as soon as possible. Okay? Anything else on this item, gentlemen, before we move on? Thank you for the update. Item number 12, low-pressure sewer pump maintenance permit procedures, discussion and action. This is that, like, weird
Previous plumbing permit or not.
rift in the space-time continuum. You have to be a plumber to switch out a pump. Right?
Yeah. The
Maintenance
commission
repair,
asked
low
us to
pressure.
come up with something that would deal with that issue. And that's our attempt. See if you like it.
Authorized service
Without
technician.
pulling a permit. That makes sense to me. Why make it more complicated? If there's a problem, it's gotta be fixed.
Does this make sense to you, Bob?
Yes, it does.
Is that a motion?
I will make a motion to accept this.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 13, irrigation meter reading versus new sewer user fee billing system. We said, since we are during 2019, item number 2, this change without the D.
Oh, yeah. How about cease unscheduled reading residential, number 3, because it's still optional. Or automatic reading, or,
Oh, so you're saying that people should still have the ability to
Well, they
say,
do.
I want you to read my meter?
it says that if you like the town to read, the town
Oh,
will
down at the
continue to
bottom.
read.
Okay,
So
yeah.
those are contradictory unless you say
Yeah,
automatic.
so they
reading or
tell
scheduled.
the cease reading unless,
Yeah,
uh,
unless you ask for it.
yeah.
And those two can be combined, I guess. The
Yeah,
town will
maybe-
cease reading residential meter, the current billing system should remove this unless an owner requests reading it.
Unless otherwise requested by an owner.
Yeah, something like that. Does that make sense, guys?
You talking about the last bullet?
No, we're
Yeah,
talking
the two of
about
them together.
the third bullet says we're gonna cease.
Yeah, and then the last one says you can still call.
Yeah, because
So-
the commission asked that we
Yeah.
still give residents
Yeah.
an option to, if they wanted to, have their, like, we won't do it, but the commission said unless they ask.
Yeah, so
I
let's
think
just put
at
those
the
two
end
together.
At the end of bullet 3,
Yeah, put
we would say unless
requested by the customer.
by the owner.
Yeah,
Okay, and eliminate the last bullet? Is that
No,
what
no,
you
no, keep the last bullet.
Okay,
But just,
unless
you're
requested.
kind of referencing that last bullet in this little
Right.
in these little 4 words that we're adding to the third bullet. Unless requested by the customer. We will
Okay.
cease unless requested by the customer. Yeah, kind of like that. You with me? You with us? Waiting for some nod of acknowledgement.
The only thing I'm wondering is in the first section, the first bullet, do we want to give a quick reason why we couldn't do it in the past? As in saying because Aquarium changed their billing procedures allowing us to do this?
Oh, yeah.
So that
Sure.
it saves us a couple of people coming in here and say, well, you made us put the meter in.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Yes.
you should pay for the meter because we only used it 1 year and.
how about based upon the change by Aquarian to monthly billing, we were able to now refine
Yeah,
our
yeah,
billing
yeah,
system
I like that. I
according.
like that.
Maybe at the first
bullet.
Or maybe we have a new first bullet.
Yeah.
You know, that says,
Yeah.
in 2018, or in 2017, I think, Aquarian
Switched.
changed
Billing cycle.
changed their billing cycle from quarterly to monthly.
Allowing for further enhancement
Right.
of the equitable billing of customers.
Ooh, allowing for the more accurate
Yeah.
and equitable.
Yeah.
Oh, God, ooh.
Better write that down, Craig.
One
better write
for
that
the
down.
more, Darren, are you writing this down, or should I write this down?
I'm ready.
A
2007
more-
Aquarian
less
changed billing cycle from
hysterical.
quarterly to monthly.
To allow for more.
Or period,
accurate and-
allowing,
Allowing for a more accurate and
Equitable.
equitable billing system.
Procedure. Billing, yeah.
billing
System.
system. I like system.
Yeah, I'm good with system.
Okay. You ever see how scientific papers get written?
I
Who's
probably
gonna
like this,
vote on
my
clauses and words?
committee.
So-
Designed and engineered by Ed Gentile and Darren Osterberg.
I had nothing to do with it.
Don't
blame me for this one.
Designed by committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, if we include that, that might save us a,
Okay, work
Comment.
that verbiage into bullet number 1.
I would make that,
Bullet number 1?
Yeah.
Bullet one.
That
A
would
new
be
bullet number 1.
Yeah.
yes,
New
Well, the
because
existing bullet number 1.
people may not read past
Yeah,
bullet one.
Okay, this is an extra bullet.
Yeah, an extra bullet at the first place,
Got it.
based on how we got here.
Before their interest wanes in the memo.
Right, right, we don't want it last, because they wouldn't read that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, because of that, the last bullet should be an asterisk instead of a bullet.
We're really getting inside.
I like that. Let's do the asterisk.
Do we want to throw an asterisk in, just for the hell of it?
Yes.
Well done.
Stop
Last-
saying, you're getting
the last
nervous
bullet
when you
is
say you like
asterisk.
the things I do.
We're not joking.
You are? You're not
Like the
joking?
asterisk?
Okay.
I like the asterisk. You can't tell? When I'm joking and when I'm not joking?
I just thought, because then,
I could see it on his paper, he's telling the truth. Let's put an asterisk there.
We did, 100%. All right, moving on. Oh, wait, can I get a motion to approve as modified?
I'll make a motion to approve that, those modifications, adding that bullet one and adding an asterisk in lieu of a
And a D,
bullet.
removing the D and change to change.
Are you guys good?
Yeah.
He has
Or
no
approved
idea
as
what the
corrected.
asterisk
I don't know what you're talking about with the asterisks.
The last bullet, instead of a bullet.
Literally, graphically,
Make
it's
it
not a
a
bullet.
asterisk
It is
instead of
an
a bullet.
asterisk.
So that people can, it'll catch their eye in case they, I'm sorry, but people don't necessarily read the whole thing. They'll get to the point where it says meter readings cease.
If you hit it, if you put an asterisk in and you hit the tab key, it turns into that dot.
Well, you can enter and then get it out of the tape, you can enter it, get it out of the outline, and
You
then put
want
an
to call
asterisk.
attention to that.
Yes,
Gonna
please.
go to special symbols.
We do
Like a
italics.
bold and underline and asterisk, whatever you want.
Something to draw attention
You
to
can
it
get
so
it, you
that,
can get it out
you
of
know,
the outline.
How
by
about
entering
I'm trying
and
to
then-
save
and-
staff the call that, oh, you know, it stopped
Okay.
and there's no
We
way
definitely
around it.
should, still shouldn't be talking about this.
Would
We have a motion.
Yeah.
Would you consider a triangle?
Absolutely
That's like
not.
a road sign, come on, I'll second that
You're
motion.
Not a
killing me.
square.
No, we got the asterisk, we're done.
And you say I drag it on.
Do I have a second?
Right, he said.
No, you can second,
Oh, I
I'll give it
second.
to you.
Okay,
As long as
first,
it's dry.
moved by Bob, seconded by Peter. Any further discussion? Any symbols you want to add? All those in favor? 4-0. Okay.
You sure you want to join this band of brothers here?
Thank God you brought
Band of
that orange.
jokers, whatever.
That gave you enough.
14. Are we done yet? Why haven't I signed this thing?
Oh, this.
Stanford WPCA contract. Ed, you're on.
Look at all that red stuff.
What are you guys talking about that we shouldn't
Hey.
hear?
You shouldn't hear.
No,
Yeah,
We included in your packets.
You did?
Final edited version,
Really? Oh, there it is.
so that you can take a look at it, read through it, comment if you feel necessary.
Let's take 2 minutes and do that.
Oh, no, you really should take a while to do that.
Reading this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't.
It's not like we could change it.
this was a tough weekend.
We want to get this done, though. Tonight.
I wonder why total Kindle nitrogen is in
We still got to put the meters in.
Okay. I thought that was going to get back figured, though. Ed,
What's that?
I thought the meter data would just be back figured. We could sign the agreement before then.
Yeah, but whether we sign the agreement in June or sign it in July, the meters are driving how we, or where we back figure to, so, or from. Just there's one date in here.
So,
Is this starting
Number
date
9.
right?
Of October?
First 2018, in terms of prior agreement dated, shall apply for the period of July 1st, 2018 through September 30th? Okay.
yes,
Oh, okay, I got it.
That's splitting the baby, right?
yes,
Timeline?
Yeah, then after that, it's wherever.
yes,
So we're just catching up.
yes. We've already lost a year of our 5-year life here.
Biochemical.
When's Heather? Get the bids back. $8,000 was slow. Was that a lot? It's a lot. It's a lot. But who was in first? Darian Jack didn't bid.
Question. Page 2, section 6, where it's talking about the instantaneous flow, combined peak instantaneous flow of not more than 9.25 mggs. How close did we come without the added crossings?
In my tenure here, we've only been exceed either one of those numbers once, and that was in 2015.
And that was without 2 crossings?
That's correct, so we increased that number.
Oh,
when
from
we-
7.5, yeah.
We bumped it up from 7.5
Oh,
to
okay.
9.
So you're saying you only went over the 7.5?
Once.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, not the 9.25. 9.25.
Right.
Perfect.
And there's no financial penalty other than if they could prove that that overage then caused a particular problem.
I didn't understand that because both numbers weren't red. So I get easily confused.
So is that where you're talking about 6, the end there, the equity proportion, any kind of issues?
Yeah, I mean, let's say
Who
they have-
determines that, though?
We'll fight about it, just like we
Okay.
fought about this for a year. I mean, you know, they get sued because they had a overflow at their plant, and they say, well, you know, at the same time, you guys had an overflow above 9.25, so we want you to participate in that, you know. That's probably the most likely occurrence.
Yeah.
At 13.3%.
Yeah.
Oh, we were 13.3? We get 13.3 of the 2.51?
Okay.
Works for me.
Do it again.
Like I said, when you want the number to be big when you're getting part of it, as opposed to.
So what would be included in industrial or commercial developments of non-domestic wastewater? What would, I can't see anything being developed in Darien that might be that way.
Neither could I.
Okay. I mean, we're not gonna do an aluminum smelter or something
No.
like that.
But it was in the original agreement,
Okay.
and I've left it there. I didn't feel
So
necessary
it
to
goes
fight
way
over that.
back to what if maybe, and we don't have any industrial land, I don't think, any zones that would allow that.
Not that I'm
currently.
aware of.
Okay.
Measured by the Heather Lane and Lake Drive flow meters as a percentage of the total flow.
Who's responsible for the line connecting Darien to Stamford? That
Which
the
part?
main, the main line
Which
down
part?
by the beach. The part that goes under the water?
It's us.
Us.
We own it until we hit the Cove Island pump station where they comes together, and then we share all the way to the plant based on the formula that's in here.
Got it.
So one of the critical clauses, I think, in here, because it's more than most things going to come in the form of a payment, back payment, is the highlighted area on page 4 under item 9. So we're getting meters installed on Heather Lane and Lake Drive. They'll be installed by the end of the month. We're then going to monitor those flow meters for a period of time
And backdate it.
and scale it up using the time period from all the other meters, right? So if we monitor it in June and July, let's say,
We annualize that and take the.
yeah, we look at that as a percentage of the other meters in that same period. And so let's say it's added 15% more flow or 20% more flow. We're going to go back to October 1st through June 30th on all those other meters and increase them by that same 20%. And that'll be how much effluent we're sending to Sanford and have to pay them to treat.
Which
Everybody
was-
understand that clause?
Which was 50% of the total time period.
Well, yeah. Instead of back figuring all the way to July
Right.
1, we're only back figuring to October 1.
Which was. from
It's substantial.
all of our
This is
viewpoints sort of equitable, how to get to more somewhere in between.
It just, we just wanted to get to signing a document,
Got it.
having a contract, and, you know, they wanted to feel like it was equitable, and we wanted to feel like it was equitable, and
So that's how
this is where
that-
we ended up.
That's how, exactly,
Yeah.
that's where we got to. And that's how it's figured, what the
And that's
cost
how it's
will be.
figured, yeah.
And we estimated that, ballpark that.
It's gonna be
was.
something like $30,000 a month.
Yeah.
And we're paying some of that now,
Right.
but
Catch up.
we're gonna have to pay a little bit more catch up for that
Yep.
9-month period.
Yep.
Which hopefully is offset by our nitrogen credits.
Never heard of it. Oh, okay, I got it.
Greater of 12% or our percentage, which is likely. So we did get down to 12%, which gives us some incentive to reduce our flow.
That was much higher, 13 and a half, right? Where they're.
Well, that's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to do some work to get down
Yep.
to 12. So we have incentive to do some work.
Yep.
I mean, these Heather Lane, Lake Drive, et cetera,
Yeah.
they're not, there's the crossing that we have already across town, which is entirely separate.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
We haven't been paying for these. These haven't been metered.
They were baked
But
into, they were
then
baked
it
into the whole
says,
thing.
Yeah,
at the bottom, it says that
I agree.
the total flow is so measured through June 30th, 20, shall be the Darien wastewater volume, but does that Darien wastewater volume only apply to the crossings they mentioned here?
So the meters will be installed by the end of the month.
Right.
So that going into the new fiscal year, July 1 and on,
Yeah.
we'll have all the meters for all the crossings, so no problem calculating. But they said, well, we have to pay for that going back to October 1st.
Yeah, that I
Yeah.
understand, but I mean, the question is, what does Darien wastewater volume include?
At-
I mean,
at
in
that point,
this
it'll be
yellow
everything. It'll be
paragraph,
everything.
is this just, I don't read it though, I read that, aren't they just referring to,
Now, once it's extrapolated,
Oh,
once it's
okay.
extrapolated,
Near water
the new
lane.
extrapolation becomes the
whole.
The whole.
yeah, the Nearwater Lane
Plus the other two,
takes
yeah,
care of
Brookside
going across, right?
and
Yeah.
Holmes.
So they're trying to find the whole total thing, look
Yeah,
backwards
right,
and figure
but
out the
Nearwater
cost.
Lane,
Yep. Yeah.
going down to,
Yeah.
that's where it's measured?
No, there's two stop crossings off of Hoyt Street.
They're gonna meter
Yeah.
those, add in the flows in their water.
No,
get
I
a
understand,
New
but I mean-
proportional cost, and then figure out 9 months of that.
I understand all these crossings that are not crossing the sound, right?
That's correct. The
And this
crossings are
total
under-
volume includes
Yeah.
crossing the sound plus the others.
Yes. It will include all 5 effectively. All 5 crossings. Total of the flows so measured and extrapolated. That's the key,
Oh, all right.
because it's going to take the measurements and then extrapolate them with the new flow data.
I still don't see where they're specifically referring to, the run that runs across the sound.
That'd be near Water Lane.
That's-
Yeah.
Unless
Deer
that's
Lane.
Deer Water
Yeah.
Lane.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That-
The near Water Lane flow meter, the meter's on our side, it's the discharge
what
from
that's-
near Water Lane.
And I guess, yeah, because Near Water Lane runs through
So
today.
the nitrogen trading credits, is that for that gasification
Right.
thing they were doing?
Nitrification.
Okay, because I know they try to use.
No, not that. No. This is basically your water quality going out,
Okay.
so that you have a net zero of people doing a good job and people doing a bad job. So they do nitrogen sharing, because when you nitrify, you go from ammonia to nitrite to nitrate to nitrogen. That's why they're asking about the testing and the nitrate. The nitrite and the nitrate. The nitrite is really nasty.
So they want to know how far from bad we're sending them to get to good. to get
Yes,
the credit.
because they want, if we were sending them really bad water,
Yeah.
we'll just call it that, it would,
Cost more.
well, it would knock down their numbers. Excuse me?
Nutrient rich.
Nitrate a lot of times is septic. It hasn't, when you have spurs in the line that aren't used much and the water's able to hang out there a long time, the dissolved oxygen in the water will be depleted and you will get, it will turn septic.
Like the plumbing in your house. pipeline
Yes,
systems.
but we can have, dead-end roads where, it's a house that the people are, vacation a lot. So there's this, rather stagnant down there, or a very low grade of pitch, so that water hangs out there and becomes septic, and those are not conditions that they would like to receive the water from.
It costs more to treat it.
Yes, and it knocks down their nitrogen credits.
Got it. Okay. Were we getting nitrogen credits in the old contract? Was that getting
Yes.
leveled? Okay, so it's the same.
It's the same.
Yes, but it went up really well this year.
The credits are worth more.
The market is worth
The
more.
market.
Yep.
Okay. That's good to know.
Like fourfold.
Really?
Yeah.
That becomes a big deal then, it's good to take.
It's interesting, because at one point, they were getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I didn't see those, like.
And they were talking about getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's grown by fourfold, where's it headed? It's worth looking at.
The rain kind of made it difficult for some smaller plants to deal with the rain and trying to nitrify. But Stanford is larger, is able to absorb it more and able to do it. So because they were able to be on the plus side, their nitrogen credits were worth more money this year.
Wow. Lucky to have you here.
Well, it sounds good. I'm sure that.
Well, it's like you're doing your job twice.
Don't let me fool you.
Let it go to his head. Oh, that's interesting.
Which part?
I didn't catch this before, I'm not gonna change it now, but interest at 1.5% is not typical anymore, just because interest rates have been so low for so long.
Oh,
That's kind
that'd
of
be
a-
18% a
That's
year.
kind of predatory
Yeah.
lending at 1.5% per month, but just pay our bills on time.
Yep.
Is that something I should be concerned about, Ed?
No.
Okay.
Not as long as.
Would it help you move on? Absolutely not.
I know from my personal company, we used to have 1.5% in our
Yeah.
standard conditions, and we
Yeah.
dropped it to 1, because people were like, 1.5 cents.
It's not
Finance pays it first of the month every month, without without delay, without.
Tell them
concern.
it's not a problem as long as we're able to keep a reasonable amount in the sewer fund. You like that one? You didn't like that one?
Said it. Ernie Ruggiero? I don't think so. Maybe? Oh, was he? Maybe. Maybe.
I'm not sure. No, I won't say anything. I'm not sure. It's interesting.
The 19 wastewater treatment system operating costs, that defines what costs will be the amount of times the percentage that we pay?
Yeah, what they're allowed to throw in our bucket for
Yep.
paying the 13%.
Okay, so we paid, 13%, right.
So that dispute was resolved, taken out, they wanted to put something.
Man, that laboratory one's tough because they take in a lot and make money from their laboratory.
Which dispute?
It's
Oh, at the end?
34,
I think that was,
something long ago.
yes.
Good.
And they just removed it.
This shouldn't belong in here then, too.
Okay, so we're paying for the sewer maintenance costs from where it joins up to their plan. Okay.
This should be
Okay.
35.
Wow.
They have no connections at all into that, right, into that main,
We pay,
before it gets to the plant that crosses the river?
Who has no connections?
Stanford?
Once it gets to, there's a chamber on their side, right? Then it
Yeah.
ends there.
pump station over
Near
the
water one,
cove.
the sound crossing.
Near water.
Yeah, it goes over Cove, there's a pump
Yeah.
station over there.
Right.
Outside the Cove Island pump station is where both pipes come together.
Good.
And then it's pumped all the way up to where they had the blowout.
Which is why we only pay 36% of
Yes,
that.
of the pump stations that pump our water. Yeah, that's G there.
Basically, the route from Cove Island to the treatment plant, we're paying 36%
Okay.
for.
We pay 36% because I think all the ones that cross over Norotan come down that interceptor
Yeah.
into Cove Island and then it's pumped,
Yeah.
so.
So at some point, they figured out the volumes vis-à-vis the two pipes and figured that we were 36% based on our volume. their
Yes.
volume.
Something like that. We had a nice hefty discussion on that 36% number.
Okay.
Thank you for all your work getting to here. Got to be a long time.
Took a while longer than I thought it
Appreciate
would.
it.
Have
And
you
then-
looked
and then
at the
where-
edits? You're happy with these?
I'm okay with them.
Where-
They accurately reflect the conversations and agreements you had with Bill Brink.
Yes, I wouldn't have shown it to you if I hadn't gotten that part right.
Okay, thank you.
This is a contract extension, right?
This is not a contract extension, Mr. Hill. This is a renewal of a contract with amendments and changes.
All right.
Sorry, you didn't see my humor, but I apologize for
I
that.
saw your humor.
Yeah, but he didn't, because he lived it.
Next time you get to join us in the room.
All right, I
If
want
you
to
want-
give everybody the time.
If you want that.
We wouldn't get here easily. There'd be asterisks.
Okay.
Okay.
This looks really good.
Well, heck of a job.
Okay.
Kudos.
Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want more time to review or digest,
No.
either aerobically or anaerobically?
Nice.
I just throw it out there. It's funny that
Nice, I like that one.
there's no real language for dispute resolution and how it's handled. Two or three. It's in here, but I don't want to crack it open anyway. I'm thinking if
What do you mean there isn't?
which party, who you hire,
35.
how many. Is it-
Basically, you can demand arbitration.
Right, okay, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
arbitration, single arbitration.
Yep.
Got it. Good.
We do
Great.
this painful process for a
Right.
year
And
until
if
we can't do it anymore, we go to arbitration.
Okay.
All right, so what are we doing?
So I guess.
Do you need an authorization for you
Yeah.
to sign it?
This should go to our town
Council?
council.
Okay.
Just for the blessing before it
Right.
gets signed.
I like that idea.
And then, let's talk mechanics. So we're gonna have town council review and return.
Yep.
But it doesn't necessarily need to return to the commission if the commission wants to authorize the
Unless there's
chairman.
substantive changes from our attorney, which I don't believe there will be.
Okay.
I don't see why it would have to.
So,
Are we accruing interest on any deficit that we're paying now? Okay, just kind
No.
of, sorry.
With great credit.
do we know the status at the Stanford WPCA in terms of their approval of this?
He sent me his changes. Part of the email was our legal counsel has made some slight modifications. So I took them out and I sent it back to him. And I said, please review these again with town council because I've made changes. They're not very big. And at the same time, I sent it to you folks to review.
All right.
There was some changes between and or, and I went back to what the old contract said because I thought it was right. So really no reason to fix it if it's not broke.
So, we're gonna, so motion to have the document reported to the town council.
Second.
All
I'll
in
make a
favor?
motion to
I'll second.
forward
Okay,
it
all those
to,
in favor? All right, and then, I guess, let's entertain a motion, should the final form of the contract not be substantively different than the one we just reviewed, authorize the chairman to sign when ready.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right. We'll see if we can get this done before the next meeting, although I'm not going to hold my breath. Superintendent's report.
Okay. Let's get, I guess
So
these for you.
okay, it's, let me just, it's 6:40.
Yeah.
Does anyone need a break? Because we're not done yet.
Well, I do, but at the same
I
time.
gotta
Yeah.
be somewhere
I
at
haven't-
7.
I would like to make a phone call to let my wife know I'm dead.
Okay.
I need to blow my nose, to be honest with you. So give me 30 seconds.
2-minute break, Channel 79, thank you. Channel 79, we're going to come back out of executive session and pick up our agenda at item 15, Superintendent's Report.
Oh, man, and there's a
Okay.
half.
The RFP/RFQ, if you will, is due back on Monday, May 13th, at which time, gentlemen, we'll have them all put in packets and delivered to you to review. The 4 sewer commission members, Darren, myself, and the new sewer supervisor we hired will get a packet. From that, we'll narrow it down to the top 3. The RFQ, if you need a copy of it, I will get you that along with it. So you see at the last page, it'll show you what you are required to rate them against, if you will.
Okay.
Okay, experience, recommendations, things like that.
So we're going to get these 10 packets if we get 10 respondents?
7, 8, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. And what do you need from us back by when to keep the process moving?
Well, I'd like to have them back within a week. On the
Okay.
20th, your recommendations. of
So
which
basically, they're
companies-
coming to you individually from each of us?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to put a rating sheet together to put in there with it before I leave.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be here 13th, 14th, or 15th. I'll be back on the 16th.
Okay.
I'll get my packet. I'll do the reviews over the weekend, and hopefully by the 20th, I'll receive them all from you folks.
Okay, and then you guys will make the final decision on the final 3?
Your ratings will tell me
Yep,
which ones.
yep.
And at those 3, I'll try to set up interviews.
You guys get ratings too, right? Or-
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hopefully try to within 10 days, set up interviews with the top 3. We'll
Yep.
see where we can pick a day.
Okay,
So I'm shooting for, hopefully by the end of the week of Memorial Day, which is the week of the 27th, to have a company selected.
All right.
wow. Okay,
All right? I know it's a rush.
yep.
I'm trying to move it along as quickly as I can. It's a little faster than I normally would do it, but I don't think we're losing anything here. So far, the companies I've sent out and spoken to all have some really good qualifications and some really good references, and I understand they're going to submit. So we have some good companies putting forth the proposal.
Great.
Okay?
All right.
Continue.
And we did meet with Greenwich. Amy Siebert spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours with us.
Oh, and
Very
your
nice of
efforts.
her, and I want to thank her publicly for that. We were able to talk about a lot of different things that are going on in their town. The ordinances for sump pump removal, I&I issues, down to, pump station upgrades and things like that. It was a really, really good conversation. It was an eye-opener, some of the things they've come across and how they're handling it.
You got like one example that was like, huh?
Yeah, I probably got a couple of them. I'll tell you the big one. We asked her specifically about results from their sump pump removals, if you will. And online, it says there's 400. She went through some examples of how they've come across certain individuals that, they've found a sump pump and they're not able to disconnect, and how they handled that one and kind of moved on to the other. I think they said they had 10,000 customers.
Yeah.
We have 5. She said that one wasn't something that we were greatly concerned about. We were trying to go after the low-hanging fruit, if you will. Not to let it go, but to,
disconnect, where are you gonna put it, who are you gonna hurt?
can they afford to do it?
Yeah.
It was those type of things that they've come across they didn't realize they were going to come across and deal with.
So you're looking for the folks that have the means and willingness to comply first.
Yeah.
In Ed's example, they use the example of someone who's older, and they knew that the house would be turning over soon, and then they would get that house taken care of then. So the old lady.
But,
Yeah, that was the
I'm
one.
sorry, I don't remember. What did they have to do to be able to gain entry to homes? Because I
They didn't
heard.
kick down any
There were
doors.
No, I know that,
They
but I
asked.
also know that they were years behind.
They-
From the time their report was done to when they made an entry was years.
It's a very, very difficult task. So her ideas to us were, though you want to focus on those because it's a lot of flow and there could be a lot of them out there. Do your due diligence on your system first. Get into that.
Because you can get to
That
fix
you can-
you can fix your problems first.
Yeah, yeah. But in the
Quicker.
meantime, start putting together an ordinance
Yeah.
that gets you into their homes to do the inspections. And make sure that they have some type of, penalty involved with it if you can't get it done or won't get it done, let's say. But we spent more time in talking about the systems and things like that. Seagate Pump Station,
I'm still in talks with the YMCA Board of Director chairperson and their attorney. We're very close. There was apparently some defects found in some of the legal language that they're fixing, and I'm hopeful that it'll be solved soon. I'm talking to them almost daily now, because it's been going on for almost a year. And as far as the generator and stuff like that, has that been
the
ordered?
generator's on order,
Yeah.
it should be here. I assumed it'd be here this May, so it should be here this month. We ordered a new generator already. We're gonna get that set in place. We'll work our way around and just make sure that we don't do anything we have to rip out, but it seems like we can do that piece separate and aside from the easement right now, while we're waiting. And that seems to be our biggest problem, where we have a problem with that generator. We have to actually try to manually start it if we have a problem. So we can't wait any
Eliminates the
longer.
purpose of a generator.
So that's your-
Number
that's
2,
emergency.
propane or natural?
The propane.
Okay.
Heather Lane?
Heather Lane, we took bids, we received bids on Monday at 3 o'clock for the electrical work. They were a little higher than we thought they would be. We received 2 bids, one from Darien Electric and one from Greenwich Electric. They were $8,000 and $13,000 respectively. That includes the town of Darien doing the digging and buying most of the equipment. They buy the conduit, they buy the panel, they install and wire all the flow meters and mission control in the panels.
Good price.
That is a good price, I think.
You like it?
It's not a bad price.
I was hoping for 5, but I'm glad to hear you guys said it.
I had panels
2019,
wired
man.
for,
Everything's expensive.
I had a panel, a big panel wired up.
Remember
for,
that when we're making the rate.
Banbury, for controlling a Banbury rubber
We're
mixing
getting
machine.
nitrogen credits.
And it was,
Increase the rate.
$4,000 or $5,000 back then.
The air must be different over there.
I go by the numbers, not the air. Sorry, we're having a side conversation, but moving on.
He's coming in here.
We're excited to get those meters in.
Yeah.
We'll push that as quickly as we can.
It's not going to happen overnight. There's a long lead time on the boxes and the meter pedestal. Just putting
Is it
out
going to
there.
happen by May 30th, like it says in the
No.
agreement?
That's why it's highlighted.
Oh,
I have to talk to Bill about that. I told him I'd give him a date as soon as I could. We got the bids back.
okay.
Sewer manhole raising?
Is that the one over by Fuji? Is that over by Fuji?
No,
Highway?
no, in general,
Throughout town.
around town. Right now, Ed's directed us to focus on the manholes that we need access to. We've identified over 40. We have enough money budgeted for about 21. We're going
Is
to do
this
that.
manholes that happen to be buried under
Yeah.
asphalt or otherwise?
Yes.
And we're going to
Or-
recover them?
Yes,
Okay.
they're either buried and we need to get into them, or they're on roads where we plan to pave and they need to be adjusted to grade.
Okay.
And after July 1, when we get more money, we'll go back and start focusing on the ones that our plows have been hitting. Our plow drivers have been giving us a list. So we're hopeful to do 2021 before July 1.
Okay. That's a good program, and it's going to be important moving forward, so we can see everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
we want to make sure they're sealed at the top.
You gentlemen, for the next one, E, you gentlemen have a letter in your packet. And it's two-sided. The back side is a table. Shows you who's buying and who's selling on nitrogen credits.
Cool.
And as Bob pointed out, we got a substantial, or Stanford got a substantial increase in their nitrogen credit this past year, to the tune of 5 times what they had put originally in their estimated budget. So that's gonna be helpful to us and helpful to them too, so, we both benefit from us sending,
What do we estimate our 2018 nitrogen credit going to be now?
well, they had 500,000, so it was like 50 grand, 60 grand. Multiply that by 5.
Right.
Because now it's, instead of 500,000, it's 2.5 million
Wow.
on the Stanford side. So there was I just roughly figured we're gonna see somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000 worth of credit.
They must be filling a lot of automobile tires. Because now they're using nitrogen.
Okay.
They're not capturing it.
Well, that's going to
It's
be
released
helpful,
into the
because
atmosphere.
what may and
As
have
opposed
ended
to
up
capturing
being
the water.
a check to
Yeah, you
equalize
don't wanna do
the
that
2 new
in
meters, we might even come out ahead.
It really depends on the rainstorms and the flows that we got,
Yeah.
but I can tell you the flows have been dropping.
It's better than going the other way.
It's, we're not getting those heavy storms right now. What's happening is going into the ground and not down the pipe.
Did you have something in your hand?
Declaration of mutual sanitary sewer easement, 63 and 65. It's been signed and recorded.
Oh, excellent.
I didn't put it in the package. The commission has seen it before. If you want to look at it, I have it right here. That's it for me.
That's it for me, too.
All right, end of superintendent's report.
It's the end.
Any questions on the superintendent's report? Item 16, Nearwater Lane Pump Station Property and Building Conditions discuss. We have 2 buildings that we don't need anymore.
Ooh, yeah, we always need buildings.
Store things.
I mean, I'll discuss it, but I could also live with tabling it, because it's not a 2-minute discussion.
It is late. Let's table it.
Table.
Thank you.
But please actually go on the property, look at the garage that's right behind the pump station building, the metal one that's in disrepair, and look at the tanks that are filled with water. And think
Okay.
the possibility, and think of the easy access you get when you just walk through an open gate.
Well, where do you, where are those tanks? In the round buildings?
You won't miss them. Go in the gate, they're off to the right. You can't miss them.
Open tanks?
They have grading, but the grading is however old. And
So they're not
filled with
open,
water.
they're graded?
They're graded, but
They're graded.
there's a couple of iffy spots.
To be honest with you, I haven't been over there to see it. All I saw was the concrete with the grate on the top. But if you believe that they are unsafe,
I think
I'll
they
make-
should be gotten rid of, and that shed either has to be replaced or major overhaul, because that's terrible. But
Well, we'll
Enough
consider,
said.
we'll consider those initial opinions as we visit the property and be prepared to discuss it fully
Right.
next time. Any new business? Hearing none.
Oh, boy.
All right, Peter, we're gonna let
you
you.
didn't give Bob a chance.
Well, it requires a two-third vote, so. Item 19,
Yes, I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Please.
do I have a second? All those in favor? Unanimous.